Hi, am I live? Jesus Christ. I'm like sitting there going, wait a minute, am I live? What is happening? I was like, my head's cut off. What's happening, guys? Welcome. Let's move that down there a little bit. Let's have a beer or seltzer. I tell you what, I haven't been feeling beer lately, so I've been sucking down the seltzies. I tried the Michelob, the Michelob Ultra organic seltzer, as if like you're trying to be a little healthier, I guess. I don't know, but I don't know. Just that's the kick I'm on. Just haven't been in the mood for beer. I had beer last week though, so it's just what I do now. It's just what I do. What's up? What's up? What's going on, guys? What's going on, Jason? How you doing? Hi. Milana, yeah. Not yet. Not yet. So if anybody's wondering about last night's vodka stream, I know I got a little ballsy, I guess. I got a little confident that I was going to be okay, but I'm still waiting to hear back from YouTube about that or from whatever the hell they do. I disputed it. The stream is blocked right now. It's currently blocked. It should be back. Hopefully, usually it takes about a day and a half for, when you dispute something. And sadly, I disputed it this morning, the stream last night. And so it's probably not going to come back till probably tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see what happens because, yeah, it was just because we played that Matrix clip. I don't know why I thought it would be okay if the sound's down. We'll just kind of go through and do commentary about it. But yeah, it was the clip of Neo fighting the Smiths. So that's what did it. And if they come back and say no, it's still gonna stick, then I'm gonna have to edit it out. It'll be back up hopefully soon though. It'll be back up. Hopefully by the end of the weekend. The end of the weekend, I think it'll be fine. I think it'll be back up, and then I'll probably have it uploaded on all the audio. I'll probably have that uploaded soon. I'll probably do that tomorrow or something like that. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Tyler? How you doing? What's going on, Bondo? I was hoping to watch. Yeah, I know. I know, and it sucks. The people that didn't get to watch it last night, I have to wait a little bit longer. Sorry about that. What's going on? Hi to India. Hey, Stephanie, how you doing? Not beer, but yeah, there you go. Nothing wrong with wine. Wine is fine. Wine is fine. What's going on, Tyler? How you doing? Got Mr. Bailey here. Yo, the Duke's the Silver intro. Yo, what's going on, Jose? Does Dodgers win tonight? Are they winning? Because the Giants, they just can't stop winning. I'm just saying, they can't stop winning. They just cannot stop winning. They killed the Cubs today. I love it. Yo, what's going on, Abel? How you doing? No shit. I enjoyed the absolute shit out of that movie, man. It was just so pleasurably campy. Yes, there was some cringiness into it, but man, when you start getting into the movie and when it starts leading into what is actually happening and then they reveal it, it just goes buck wild. And I loved that was like when after the reveal happened, I was just the whole time just watching like, what the fuck? He's a madman. I feel like shit. Oh man, that sucks. Sad to hear that, man. Poor guy. Well, that sucks, man. Well, jump on that unemployment and keep your head up. Hopefully that'll lead to something better. That does happen sometimes. I've lost jobs too myself, and it's only led me to better stuff. What about the audio stream? Well, yeah, yeah. If you go on Spotify, Apple, Google, or Amazon, you could type in vodka stream and find all the audio vodka streams on all the film junkies. If you type in film junkie, all the Batman, the Fanimated, audio of all my live streams are on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, all that stuff. You type it in, but I haven't uploaded last night's vodka stream yet. So if I struck that clip, other people are getting, yeah, it's such a weird, touchy thing because usually they get you for the audio. They get you for the audio big time. So, and I thought maybe if I had it turned down, it would kind of avoid that a little bit, but now, I mean, it still got it. Do you have, I don't have the dark sides. I have I have Desaad, I have Diana, I have Black Suit Superman, but I don't have any of the dark sides yet. I think those are on the way. Well, you're welcome, Eric. That's why I did it. That's why I did it. Can't believe 2 bangers dropped the same day. Yeah, I know. It was a fun day. I woke up a little hungover today, obviously, as I do on Saturdays. So after I woke up and it's actually been a while, but I went to Jack in the Box and got just junk food. That's how hungover I was. I wasn't like dying hungover, but I was hungover where you wake up and I was craving just something greasy, and I needed something sugary. I needed something like that. But yeah, Kate was great too. Yep, Malignant. Malignant. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little scary. It's a horror movie. So yeah, it's got its stuff. What's going on, Alakzu? How you doing? Chirp. Yeah, YouTube Yoda. That's right. Yeah, bonkers. It's definitely gonna be one of those iconic, like when you around like Halloween time when they do like countdowns for like horror movies and shocking horror movies, when they do stuff like that on various channels, it's gonna be up there. Like, there's some people that absolutely don't like the movie and they think it's like the worst James Wan movie ever, or like that he leans in. I'm telling you what, like I said in my review, it was Argento and Raimi. It's like they mashed together, and then James Wan kind of put his spin on it. That's the feel I got. Yeah, very enjoyable, very enjoyable. Yeah, it's not jump scare. There's like maybe a couple little times, but it's just freaky. Yeah, no spoilers. We won't talk about that. We won't talk about that. Don't worry. Yeah, it's still very fresh, so I'm not gonna say any spoilers. I'm just saying that when that reveal happens and in the third act, final act, it just gets bonkers. It gets bonkers. So yeah, we'll avoid the spoilers. Yeah, it's gory. Yeah, it gets gory too. Yeah, there's not many jump scares, so don't worry about that. Yeah, it gets pretty crazy. You pick up copies? I still haven't. I still have not. I didn't get out today. I didn't get out. There you go. Yeah. Sadly, the Wendy's it's far. Jack in the Box is right around the corner, so it's just easier to get to. So, Jack in the Crack. Gotta love it. Yep, we definitely need that Huntress movie now. Let's get some of that. I like gore is fine. I hate coming out. Yeah. You'll be good. The gore is like crazy. It's not jump scare, so yeah. Dude, I yeah, there's a one shot in the movie, as there is in like every James Wan movie. James Wan always tries to fit a one shot. That's why that's not spoilery. There's just a one shot in this movie in the final act, and it's just like, what the fuck is happening? Like I just really enjoyed it. At first, I was going, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. I honestly, when I put on Malignant at first, I was going, I don't know, but then I realized that I think like Juan was just wanting it to be as campy as possible. And with the score and and just the way that it was shot, I was going, okay, he's really leaning into the horror aspect, like 70s, 80s horror aspect. I mean, literally, like, there's no reason why the lady's house needs to have fog like all over it. She lives in like Seattle. Seattle, and there's like every time you see the outside of her house, there's like a layer of fog. So that's what you got to do if you're going to watch Malignant. Yes, it gets campy and can get a little cringy, but I think that's what James Wan was going for. He was really trying to emulate the 70s, 80s horror vibe, and I think he fucking nailed it. Speaking of Chick-fil-A, I had some of that. I had some of that for dinner. I haven't had Chick-fil-A in months. And I was just craving a good chicken sandwich. I got 2 chicken sandwiches. So after the stream with Scott, I just went over to Chick-fil-A and got me 2 spicy chickens. That was delicious. Delicious. Huh? No, it's all right. I'll you don't have to. Don't worry. I'll pick it up. I'm gonna look tomorrow. But I appreciate that, Michael. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'll get it though. Yeah, for letting I know exactly. Jeez, that's what was great about it. She actually owns a. She actually owns. Ah, is that what it is? Is that what it is? Kate had a lot of one shots. Yeah. Jose, yeah, definitely did. Did Warner Brothers? I know. Yeah, and with no barely any marketing, man. Barely any marketing. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and send over the link to the patrons. Go ahead and do that right now. So, come on, I should have the page open already. For some reason, I didn't. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and post the link in there right now. So look for it. Let's see. All right, Patreon stream link. There we go. All right, link is sent. So get those guys filing in here, and Eva Tang. We'll have a nice little conversation. Sidious is great. Did you manage to? I don't know. When I get a milkshake, I always have to go chocolate. It's hard for me to go peach, but I hear it's pretty great. So. But Malignant seemed Malignant. It definitely is. It's a unique beast. It definitely is a unique beast. I think the marketing would have spoiled too much. Yeah, true. Some marketing would have. What happened to yesterday's vodka stream? Yeah, it's in copyright limbo right now, Jade. Copyright limbo. I was just explaining that at the beginning of the stream right here. Yeah, basically it's because we watched the clip. We watched the clip of the from the Matrix because I'm a dummy. I didn't think so. It's being disputed right now. Hopefully by the end of the weekend, the stream will be back up because it was good catching up with Mr. Swenson and kind of like getting some tips too. I love how he was explaining how he had somebody, a relative, a distant relative, a relative of a relative or something like that. I don't know. Kind of, look at his channel and give him pointers. And it worked too, because Swenson blew up, man. In the past few months, he's blown up. I mean, he upped his game. So it's always good. It's always good to do that. So it inspired me to up my game too. So yeah, it'll be up hopefully soon. Yeah, check it out. Do it, Steph. Do it. Turn out all the lights. I'm just kidding. As long as you're sipping wine, you should be fine. You're sipping wine, you should be fine. Okay, start getting all these guys in here. Oh, we got somebody new in here tonight. Cool. That's cool. All right, we got Eric. What's up, sir? We got William. What's going on?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm making sure I get. And we got Aaron Bailey. What's up, sir?
How's it going?
It's going good. I just saw that you became a patron today. Thank you for
that. Man.
Yeah.
Excited to be in here.
Yeah. How's everybody doing today?
Yeah, good to have some variety. Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. Drink of the stream. Drink of the stream is
Gentleman Jack today. Watch out.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
Oh yeah, it is the good stuff. Yeah. I'm gonna go my take right now.
There you go. Take a sip of that.
Before I put in here and mix it up with some cream soda.
Okay, with cream soda. Interesting.
Yeah,
well,
this is why.
I can see that.
Yeah, because this is why. Because you remember, like a couple streams ago, like I tried some scotch, and then finally I figured out because we've heard about the combination scotch and soda. Okay, which soda? So I tried it out with cream soda, and it turned out to be the perfect blend.
Oh, that's good.
It smoothed it out. You don't taste the cream soda; it just smooths out the scotch. So I tried it out with Gentleman Jack, and it does smooth it out fine good.
He's driven in 3 runs in the game.
Whoa. Is that you, William? You watching the game?
Let me turn it down. I won't.
Whoa.
There you go.
Is that the Dodgers game?
Yeah, they're trying to.
Are they losing, please?
Nah, they're winning. They're winning, but they're trying not to.
We got Carrie. What's going on, sir?
Hello.
Good to see ya.
So Dave, I have a very important question for you.
Uh-oh.
Well, where are the numbers?
Yeah.
And have you gotten Anya's number yet?
I know, right? I wish.
And you still can't see the numbers.
Now,
I am actually being semi-serious. I actually do think you and Anya, if the two of you could get together, I think you would get along okay.
Hey, I'm with you on
I think
that.
she would dig your sense of humor.
Yeah, if we can make it happen, let's make it happen, man.
I hope she's like a laid-back kind of person. So
she seems like it. She seems like it.
On
that pretty guys.
On that note, and this may sound a little odd, Dave, but I could see you with Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yeah. You move over, Ewan. Yeah.
The one she just had a kid with.
Yeah, she just had a kid.
Oh, that's right. They're together. I completely forgot that, actually.
I don't think I knew they were together until they
film Junkee. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like a random thing. That was a random thing because I don't know. Were they together before Birds of Prey? I think.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah,
or is that like one of those things where like they found love on set kind of deal? That always happens.
They were together before. And then when it was announced that they were playing those different roles, everyone was like saying like how great of an inside joke was it, and then it would have like, and everyone was just picturing Black Mask saying to Huntress, "It's over, Helena. I got the high ground."
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
And then they've never had any actual scenes together though. In the
I know, this is so great.
You ever watch Fargo on FX?
I have not.
That's where they met.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, because he was in.
You're on that show?
Yeah. That's right. I forgot about that. Didn't he play two characters?
Yeah, he played lawyer and he played the thief. That show is so awful. Yeah,
I know.
So
I need to watch that. Look at that. Holding up. Shut up. I know you guys probably all got your copies.
Yeah.
You got Blu-ray.
Dave,
mine's downstairs. But
I haven't gotten it yet.
I get it. Like, and I loved the whole like thing about like wanting to hold conversations with people who are also trying to get this. But seriously, bite the bullet, Dave. Do what we all did and order from Amazon. Seriously.
That's not what I did, actually. I found mine.
Well, good for you. I wanted to get mine the first day, so I said, okay, I got Amazon Prime. I'll do it.
I have HBO Max. I can watch it.
Yeah. Looks like my mom's. Hi, Mom.
Well, I still got HBO Max, but I still wanted to hold this in my hand the very first day. So there you go.
That's what I want to see. I wanted to go to the store, grab it, and then do all that jazz. But I don't know what the hell's going on. There it is. You got 4K. So William, you don't have. Oh, we got the trilogy also.
See, I'm lame. I don't have 4K. I've just got regular Blu-ray.
Hey,
what I got is the 4K and Blu-ray because it has got 4 discs.
Yeah.
It's got the movie and bonus features, both 4K and the Blu-ray.
And normally with those, they have the digital code included, but obviously they're not trying to put out digital copies with this beyond HBO Max. So
no way that was happening.
And of course,
I'm actually surprised they actually put this on physical media.
Really?
Because it doesn't make a lot of sense when you're trying to up the game of your streaming service. Everything that they've done in the last year has been streaming, even to the point of costing themselves a lot of money. So you put something on physical media for, that's just, I don't know if it'll make a difference in subscribers, but if you subscribed just so you could watch Zack Snyder's Justice League as much as you want, now I have a DVD. I mean,
but at the same time, they did wait like how many months? I mean, it came out in March, right? So
they've always released seasons of their TV shows like Game of Thrones like a year after. So,
but going forward, going forward, you're going to see that less and less and less, and eventually you won't see it at all.
I don't know about that because it makes so much on the physical media. I would think. I'm just kind of curious. I just want to know if there's going to be some numbers. I don't think they can hide from numbers.
And of course, this on my shelf, this sits next to this. So, two greatest DC trilogies.
Heck yeah,
Carrie. How much was it for you? How much was the trilogy for you?
I want to say it was around 60 to 70. I pre-ordered off Amazon.
See, that's what it was. When I went to the mall and they had it there, it was $100. I was like,
and I did get
that's how much it was here, and I was like, no way.
Stores to find it.
Yeah, it was just like I just pulled up Amazon and I was like, I'm not gonna pay $30 extra.
And I did pre-order the Steelbook too, but then that got delayed. But not even it was also weird. I don't know if Scott had an issue with this because he's the Steelbook guy, but not only did it get delayed, but anytime, even prior to that, when I would try to click on it, either on the app or going through the web browser, it would make me re-sign in to my account every single time. Weird. So there was some kind of glitchy aspect to the Blu-ray, how it was listed on their website to it basically redirected me to keep signing in every time. And like anytime I would try to pull up, it would just do that. So I was like, is there something weird in how it's listed in their system? But I've also got notifications that it's being shipped to my parents' house in Colorado. So
Interesting.
So
interesting.
I'll get it.
William, you don't have yours though. You guys aren't getting any copies or what? Do you guys sell movies?
What's up?
Do you sell
I
movies?
sell them, but there's no middle market discount for them. So I just be basically selling them at cost. And I didn't get one for myself simply because I have HBO Max. I don't need to do
Physical copy though, man.
Like I said,
Snyder cut in your hands.
Yeah, who knows? I may get it, but like I said,
we're holding pipe dreams in our hands.
I know.
I watched.
Crazy?
Pipe Dream was getting it. The Pipe Dream was getting it out there. I got that on March 18th.
Okay.
But still, I hear tell that apparently the image is a lot sharper on the physical than on the
Oh yeah, there's always going to be that because like streaming is the image. So
I get so much crap for collecting physical media from so many people that I know, and I'm like, look, I just like having it just in case one day they're like, hey, we don't want this on the streaming service anymore, and I can be like, well, I've got it. Like,
collect it while you can. Collect it. It's a good if you can get your hands on physical media now. Collect it while you can.
I took a break from physical media. I was all like, you know what, digital, it's fine. I have like 4 boxes full of regular DVDs when that was all a thing. But then when it started jumping up to, your HD,
you look at the guy who has a whole collection of CDs. Okay, heck with digital, and of course, I also buy books. I rarely, if ever.
Oh yeah, I have to. If I have a book, I have to hold it. I can't look at a screen.
I still have this idea in my head that like there's going to be a day where the internet collapses. And like I still got my Blu-rays that I can play at home.
All right.
If the internet is collapsing, trust me, there's more going around you that's awful. You probably won't be sitting down relaxing.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think I'm just gonna ride it out with Justice League, just sitting there watching my copy of it and open a beer and just be like, well, this is it, guys.
With like a shotgun on your lap, just like, don't bother me. All right.
I'm gonna be the guy, the Twilight Zone episode where he's got all the books or whatever, and he can't. I'm gonna be that guy, but instead of losing my glasses, I won't have a Blu-ray player. That'll be my
Oh wait, I need power to plug this in. No.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Especially for an exclusive. That's what really surprised me because it's an exclusive that's going to be on their property forever. Justice League's not going anywhere. It's going to stay there. So
true, but that's part of the deal, though. It's like that physical media. I mean, it was all physical around the world, but
if you look at like House of the Dragon, when it gets released. Watch how short circulation those when they finally do release them on Blu-rays. As you get further, within 3 to 4 years, only a quarter of that distribution is going to be around because it just doesn't make any financial sense. You say they make a lot of money on it, but when you look, if you work on building your subscription base up to 80 million subscribers, you do the multiplication at $14.95 a month or whatever it is, you're making nearly $1 billion. You're making a lot of money. Just on that alone, and you don't have to give anybody the middleman. You don't have to give any percentages to any middle guy. You get all that money straight, so it doesn't make much. Physical media, unfortunately, is going to go.
Yeah, I know. No, I get what you're saying because, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people, even like me. I stopped doing the physical media thing. Now I'm going to get back into it. But
I own VHS, so
hey, you'll be both.
It's just convenient
because there's so many. Forgotten gems that are still only on VHS and have never had a DVD.
Leprechaun 2, baby. There's nothing more forgotten than that.
Wow.
Classic.
Don't ask me why I have.
I mean, there was always going to be a collector's market, so it'll be limited to what the physical releases will be because I think you're right, William. Like, it definitely won't be as high, and there won't be an expectation for that to be the thing that brings the extra money in. But there will always be people who are a little more old-fashioned to say, I still want the hard copy of it. So
there'll still be a presence, but I think I see what William's saying is like it won't be you won't be walking into Best Buys and all that and seeing like all these like displays. You'll have, I mean, if you go into Best Buy now, I remember going to Best Buy when I was like a teenager and you had rows of CDs, rows of movies. Now it's just you walk in, it's phones, computers, TVs, you know, and it's like you go over here, you have to like, oh yeah, there's a DVD or there's a Blu-ray section right there. Small section now. So it's already diminished. Yeah.
Not that I want that to happen. It doesn't make any sense for it to happen that way. Yeah. That's just the way, just like movie theaters.
But so on that note, can we really assume then that the Justice League physical release copy release will be any big? Anything to sneeze at? Really?
What do you mean?
Because like if the physical media is dying, I mean, how long is it going to be until the physical media release isn't anything to sneeze at?
Not long. Well,
there you go.
Yeah. Like I said, I love the movie, but I'm not racing out to get it physical media because I have it. I can push this other button here, and I got HBO Max.
So my point then is, will the numbers for the physical release of Justice League really matter though? If they're
percentage of what you print. So if you printed out 22 million or so, and you sold 90 some odd percent of it, that's a success.
Yeah.
That means you made money and you didn't lose money, and you made money on top of money because not only did you have subscribers, but at the same time, with Justice League, it's a different movie because it's a legacy title, and it's one that has I don't want to call this a cult, but it has a dedicated following, and a lot of us signed up to that streaming service for certain types of content. Yeah. If you give me a reason not to come to your streaming service, like another way to get it, that's not smart. That's just that's not something.
We got to realize though. I mean, HBO Max has other things too, not just Justice League.
This is going to be a practice across the board, not just with Justice League.
Like all the people, and like with all the people like talking about like canceling their subscription to HBO Max because of how WB's been like hemming and hawing over the Snyderverse and so on. Like, and I remember like I and you and many others were saying, look, if you're going to cancel, maybe it might be best to wait until the physical media comes out, and physical media is coming out. So,
I know. I mean, yeah, they're probably going to see a little drop, I'm sure. But at the same time, it's like they still got other stuff. I mean, I like their library for the Turner library they have. I like finding little gems in there that I haven't seen in fucking years. So I'm keeping it just because.
Service. In my opinion, this is the best streaming service.
Yeah, I really enjoy it.
If I were running it, I would do my best. This is not something I want to do personally. I would do my best to kill as much physical media as possible. I want you coming to me. I'm going.
I think Disney wants to do that.
See?
When it comes, when these licenses come up again. So say when you see something on Turner again, and it's time to renew a distribution license to carry it on DVD or Blu-ray. If I'm sitting in the corner office, I'm not picking up that call because I want you to come to me.
By the way, like I believe Carrie, you just brought up. I believe you, the one that just brought up Disney Plus. It's funny you should mention that because I just saw today, like someone brought up how the MCU is having. It looks like according to its schedule, it's having 4 to 5 movies released per year, and I'm looking at this as like. Okay, Warner Brothers, you all need some catching up to do. 4 to 5 movies per year.
Catch up.
They shouldn't. They don't even.
Wait till the new management takes over. I don't want these current managers catching up to anything. I want them to stop.
No. But
even hopefully the new managers they don't even have the mentality of we need to catch up because it's a losing game by this point. There's no point in even trying. It's just BWB. Make your DCU the best you can. If you're gonna go for a connected universe, really commit to it. Commit to your director's visions and whatnot, and don't waffle every time a movie has a mild to moderate success.
That's what they screwed up the first time though. Was trying to they saw what Zach was doing and they got freaked out by it, and then they were like, "We'll make it like Marvel," and so they brought literally the Marvel director in, and had him be like, "Okay, let's put a bunch of jokes and like brunch stuff in this," and and I think that's what screwed it up the first time. was that course correction. So now if they try to do it again, it's just like.
But their course correction was basically like only one movie a year, maybe at the most two. It's like no.
Anytime they course correct, they just jerk the wheel into a damn telephone pole. That's all they
do.
Okay,
I mean, but I will say this. If they were to, you need to catch up. Okay, they're doing 4 to 5 movies per year. Maybe we should greenlight 4 to 5 movies per year. That increases the likelihood. That should increase the likelihood. If they want to do that as soon as possible, that increase the likelihood of the air cut, and maybe like the Schumacher cut, but certainly the Batfleck movie. And
you're most likely to get a Batfleck movie because it's not that big of an endeavor. It's Batfleck is not. As far as Schumacher and Air, sorry, I would not hold my breath either one of those within the next 2 years.
Well, they're all but finished, right?
Okay, but it's still okay. You have to think of it from a business aspect. What is the business interest as far as draw?
Well, they need content.
Batman is in both.
I think with the Air cut, they kind of win either way, though, right? Like, I mean, because it's not like the Snyder cut that needed, like Zach had to put all this extra work into. I'm pretty sure the Air cut's just like throw it on the app, and that's free money for them.
There wouldn't be any more shooting.
But is it an attraction that even makes that minimal cost worth it for them? I'm talking from their point of view, not mine.
I know, but
well, maybe not monetarily, but it's definitely like a goodwill thing to do. I think that would get a lot more people on board.
I agree with you.
It'll create some buzz and hype too.
Yeah, we mentioned one thing that does not do good in business. Nobody does anything for goodwill in business, unfortunately.
I mean, with the fans, but
I mean, you got 3 things. First, it's as Air has constantly said over and over, it's all but finished. Second, it's goodwill, which basically encourages people, makes people want to come to see more of what you have. And third, I mean, again, like it increases the hype for whatever else you have.
Kevin Feige has been writing goodwill since 2012.
Yeah,
but he's also been writing good management too. It's not just
I mean, that's true. But like the reason why people trust the MCU as a brand is because they earned it. And they've capitalized on it ever since then. Warner Brothers with their DC films has never earned it.
Well, here's the difference between
Nolan did, but that's about it.
Yeah.
DC blinked. Marvel didn't. Not every Marvel movie has been great. Some of them, after having seen all of them, I could have done without and never have seen them. Maybe 11 of them out of the 25. Okay, but when they made a crappy movie, they made a Dark World. They didn't blink. When people whined and said that wasn't as good as the third movie, they didn't blink. Guess what? They kept going. They kept going and they kept doing their thing. That's the only major difference between the two is the organizational structure. But Warner Brothers listens to extremist fanboys sometimes, and they listen to critics. The two worst things
the critics was the big part.
I ever do to build a franchise is listen to those two.
Yeah, I would say when it came to Thor, they didn't blink, but they knew, hey, when it comes to third Thor, we need to do something different.
Nobody got fired. Nobody got pushed out.
What they should have done, because really what they should have done is, look, they had Patty Jenkins. She was eager to do it. She had this great idea for the second movie. Natalie Portman was really eager to do that movie, but then they looked at Patty's ideas like, get out of here. We want to do more Thor and Loki and stuff. And
didn't she say that the script was always really weak, and she was like, I'm not going to direct a weak script because that'll make me as a female director look bad.
Yeah.
Her idea.
Patty Jenkins without Zack Snyder for me is something I might pass on right
now.
Well, no, because for the movies that I'm into, the comic book, the movies that she's done without him as a directly involved in the script, the screenwriting, I didn't enjoy. I didn't enjoy Wonder Woman 84. No. I mean, I didn't. And what was the big difference between that movie and the last time she had Wonder Woman under umbrella? Zack Snyder.
Well, again, here's the thing. And I've said this before.
What else have you watched that she's done too?
Just looking at Justice League and how Justice League ends, and then looking at what Patty has said her ideas are for Wonder Woman 3, I really get the feeling that what she says her ideas are for Wonder Woman 3 were her ideas for Wonder Woman 2, and then Justice League was building up to that. But then when Zach was out, and then they brought in Whedon, and that was all reshot, there was a new plan, and then Jeff Johns was the one saying, "Hey, well, let's do something else." I really feel like
well,
that's.
But Patty was like none of the directors like regarded Justice League as canon or whatever.
Yeah.
Like she was like none of us even like paid attention to that movie when we made our own movies. Yeah. So I would hope that it wasn't like a deal of like what you're saying, like where it was like a Jeff Johns idea to make Wonder Woman 84 like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I hear that, and I don't believe. I think she had a tremendous amount of influence of that movie, and I think that she took that character further. Listen, that version of the character has a certain DNA in it that has to be done a certain way, in my opinion. And when you fluff it up, you really hurt it. You take it away from what it was designed to be. She was designed to exist in a certain atmosphere, and Wonder Woman 84 is like taking a fish and just throwing it on the beach and letting it suffocate.
When you watch Wonder Woman 84, I mean, you could tell it's like she wanted to make something that was the TV show. She was going for more of the TV show big time. And she probably was always, she probably grew up with a TV show, and she probably wanted to maybe even kind of do that the first time, but then she knew it's like, now we got to establish her as this. She's coming off PBS. But I think like, with this time around, she was just totally all about like, hey, can we just make it nostalgia as shit?
Wasn't the original idea like there were rumblings that with the first movie that the original idea was for Linda Carter to play Hippolyta or something like that? I heard something.
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, I think it was one of those situations where like it's one of those things that I hate when they do in like 80s movies or 70s movies where they just like they're like, this is set in the 80s, but we're gonna like overdo it in every possible every 5 seconds we're like, hey, this is the 80s, like you're watching a movie in the 1980s
song in there.
And they didn't do that. That first trailer popped with the fucking Friday song. It was like, okay, I'm feeling this vibe. And then you watch the movie and you go,
it's just the hair.
It's 80s hair. You guys got big hair. That's about it.
It's a members only jacket.
It was just like, come on, lean into it.
I would have loved to have her like play that up. This trailer.
She didn't lean into the 80s like we thought.
I mean, Thor Ragnarok
did for the first 20 minutes
film than Wonder Woman 84, and Thor Ragnarok is set on a different planet. Like,
remember when Thor Ragnarok, when we first saw the title and it was all looked like it was all medieval, it was made out of
it was like God of War Ragnarok title.
It was totally like, and it was like cool, and then all of a sudden they flipped it, and then they put this like arcade, 80s arcade font, and it was like, all right. But even though I don't like Thor Ragnarok, fuck it, let's lean into this kind of,
I'm not a fan of that either, but I respect it. Like, I'm at least he went for it. Like,
that's what I always say about it. I'm like, it wasn't for me, but and when going back to like course correcting, or like you said, didn't blink. They didn't blink, but they knew they needed to do something with Thor because it just
they adjusted.
Adjusted. But they didn't. When they adjusted and didn't like delay anything or do anything crazy. They just said, let's get that director. Thor's going to get a haircut, and we're going to see Hulk's ass.
That was on the notes. Yeah.
Exactly. It was written.
I think another
be in there.
I think a big part of it too.
I feel I'm afraid of because I think this movie, The Batman, is going to be great. And now that I've heard that it's a horror movie, I'm even more on board. But if the new regime hasn't taken over by then, I fear that these current guys are because Batman is a legacy character to where everybody has one, and everybody's going to say, "Well, that's not my Batman. That's too dark. That's too this." Right? And Warner Brothers management has always leaned to those guys when they shouldn't have. If this movie is what they say it is, it's going to turn off a certain softer segment of Batman fans. And if the wrong management is in place, then we could end up with not seeing Matt Reeves do a second or third movie.
Oh, let's hope not. What were we going to say, Carrie?
I need Zaslav to be in place by then.
What were we going to say, Carrie?
Well, I was as far as Thor Ragnarok goes, I was just going to say I think part of it had to do with the fact that I remember hearing a podcast talk about how I guess there was a point where Chris Hemsworth came to Feige or whomever at Marvel and just said, look, I'm happy to have this role, but I feel like I'm dying here. Like he wanted to stretch his comedic chops because he has them, so they were very much leaning to that, but obviously swung the pendulum way too far. Whereas Infinity War found the better balance. So hopefully Love and Thunder is more like that.
And speaking of Infinity War, I think I heard somewhere too where he was kind of worried about going back, and I think he even approached the Russo brothers like, "Hey, you realize that this is adjusted now," or something like that. I thought maybe it was an interview with maybe the Russos. I don't know. I just remember hearing something where I think he was scared that it like, oh wait, we're not going to go back, are we? And they're like, no, we got you. You're still going to be, but we're going to put a little bit more depth in you, and that's what I love the fact that the Russos pulled me back in because I thought Thor. I mean, yeah, of course they fucking went the complete opposite direction again in Endgame, but he still had his moments in there.
And even that, it makes, even if you don't like it, it still makes sense within the context of the story and the character's arc. I think like he's not gonna be Fat Thor next time we see him. Like,
well, and the way the Russos handled it was that they were like, oh, okay, he's this way. They don't explain it in Ragnarok, but they're like, he's this way because of all the stuff that has been going on in his life. He's dealing with all this grief and stuff through the way he's like joking about everything. Yeah, he didn't have all that stuff in his life like in the other two Thor movies.
And if you think about it, by Endgame, like where is he at? He's basically realized he's a failure of a king. Like he became king, right, of his own people. And what immediately happened? Their planet was destroyed, and which he played
the ship that evacuation had to,
which he played a part in because he thought it was a good idea to at least Surtur. And then as soon as they're trying to find a new home, they run into Thanos, and then half of their people get destroyed, get killed by Thanos, and who knows how many more were lost in the snap, So I mean, here's a guy who believes that, he was supposed to live up to his role as a king, and he completely botched it, and when he was needed most urgently, and no wonder he's in the condition he's in. But to go back to what William was saying about the Batman, I don't know. I think it's just I don't know what's going on as far as what the executives want, because on the one hand they say they want director's visions, but then they say, well, can you make it more, Batman Forever? Can you make it more like the 66 show? And and then Nolan came in and did his thing, and they're like, well, now what do we do? Can we, and they just never have a. Yeah, I think there are conflicting parties within Warner Brothers about what happens with Batman, and hopefully they just trust Reeves and let the movie play out the way it's going to play out.
Well, and money's going to be another factor because Nolan's Batman, other than if it wasn't for Heath Ledger putting an all-time great performance, that movie doesn't make $1 billion. Because the first Batman that Nolan didn't make that much money. It made $400 some odd million.
But it was a critical darling too.
It was a critical darling, but great. That's awesome. But they don't fire people over critical anything. You get fired over bonuses and paychecks and people not. Listen, when you got people pushing hard, taking huge bonuses at the end of his run, he didn't care what the critics said. And the critics destroyed Suicide Squad, but it made money. That's why you got a sequel. So these guys, when they're thinking, I'm wondering where they're at as far as, okay, if this movie doesn't, and the $1 billion threshold needs to go away. The $1 billion threshold needs to go away.
Especially now.
I haven't said that anymore.
That should never been there for Man of Steel.
It should have never been there. Yeah, exactly. But if this movie makes $600-700 million, and these clowns are thinking, oh, it didn't make $1 billion, we need to shuffle things up. That's what I'm afraid of, because these guys don't have the mentality of the future. They have the mentality of old Hollywood. All your guys that are currently in position are old Hollywood. Emmerich, Hamada, all these guys are entrenched in old Hollywood. So winning and losing for them is box office. Right. Whereas in the streaming era, winning and losing is going to be retention and gaining subscribers. That's it. Making that $700-800 million a month or whatever they can make. If you do the math, and $12 billion, $13 billion a year, there's no box office that's going to give you that.
And kind of like building on what you just said, like the whole like the old Hollywood like idea of like box office also leads to cut the movie down. We need more screenings, which of course that's what screwed up Batman v Superman and so on.
And then we get the runtime for Venom too, and it's like
90 minutes.
Oh god.
I'm so worried about that.
Yeah.
If it's 90 minutes of action, I'm good with it. If it's 90 minutes of action content, if it's 90 minutes and I leave the theater and I'm like, wow, where's my other half hour? Then I'm going to be mad. But also I'll have to wait. The jury is going to be out for that one.
What did you guys think of the first one?
I liked it.
I love
I love Venom.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
loved it.
But I've never
one
been
was
emotionally. I'm not invested in Venom as a character either. So
Yeah, that's true. So I had no stand.
I didn't have expectations, but I heard more negative, and I went and saw it. I was like, yeah, that wasn't very good.
Look, I say, like I've said this before, Dave. It's like I loved the Venom, the first Venom, and again, if you're familiar with the comics, it's two things. Two things make a good Venom: intense action, zany humor, and the movie had them both. So there you go.
I think, but just for me, it just felt like they were trying to be MCU a little too much. I don't know, and it felt like there's stuff missing as well. I don't know.
Like,
well, the main character that led to his creation is missing. So yeah.
Was the zany humor for Venom there when like McFarlane created him?
Yeah, it's all the way back to the iconic
Larson started that. Eric Larson's era started that.
It goes all the way back to Lethal Protector, like his introduction sequence in Lethal Protector, where it's like where this goon is like trying to harass this woman, and then Venom just jumps in and then scares the guy and all that, and then he turns and looks at the woman and is like, "Oh, forgive us, we're being rude." There, pats her on the head. They're right there.
Yeah, so that's the part
right there.
That's the aspect of the character that was like foreign to me, but I've not really.
Yeah, I think a lot of people.
Runs off, and after patting her on the head and says, "Stay right there. Someone will be right there with you." Runs off, and then the woman's like, "Ah!"
Yeah. See, I think a lot of people look at it as he's supposed to be a Spider-Man villain. I think a lot of people associated
that's
that.
That's how I think of him.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. And, I didn't really delve into him, his solo stuff, but, one of my good buddies, Seek, Venom vlog. I mean, he's big time into it. And we had conversations about that. And he like kind of gave me the rundown of like, well, this is, a lot of people are used to it over here. But if you look at this and this and this, it's like the movie actually did a good job of capturing the character.
Yeah.
But you could tell there was some fuckery, some studio fuckery, some shit cut out, because there was a lot of set videos that showed Tom Hardy doing his Venom walk and dance that we didn't see in the film. And I liked that. That was my favorite part of the whole thing, was him struggling with all that. I thought that was the best part because I love Tom Hardy.
I love the deleted scene where Venom freaks out because this car is doing the beep, 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 beep,
that was a good scene.
Freaks out, starts smashing it. I was like, well, we've all been there. We've all wished we could do that.
Well, I mean,
I think that was the only Venom scene I think that was in the daytime. That one that they cut. I think that was the only scene. And I think they thought it looked weird or something. The CGI looked a little funny, but I was like,
we kind of talked about. I forgot what I talked about that on, but I don't know. Maybe it was a vodka stream. I don't know. No, it was on Anthony's stream. I've done a lot of streams this weekend, and we kind of talked about the color palette. It's just kind of like we were talking about the first Venom when him and what was the villain in the first one? What did he? Riot. Sorry, I was like, I could not remember. Chaos. I almost said chaos. I'm like, that's not a character.
That's kind of cooler, actually.
Yeah, no, it actually does sound
really cool. Yeah.
No, but when they were fighting at the end, it was kind of like, damn, I can't really see them. They're both like, it's kind of
it's just blobs.
Yeah, and then we were kind of talking about how like Carnage. It's like, yeah, you need a little more red. There's a little more red that needs to be happening. I mean, like when you watch that trailer, it's like you could tell that there's like he's not black, but it's like.
I think they took the opposite with the ending of Venom. They did like the opposite thing that everybody criticized the ending of Black Panther for doing. It was the opposite thing in Black Panther, where it was like heavy light on them, and you could clearly see that they were like CG models. And then with Venom, they were like, okay, just mask everything in like complete darkness.
Basically, they were overdoing.
I still don't see the problems with the third act of Black Panther.
I mean, like basically they were overdoing. Basically, they were overdoing Zack Snyder's solution, because like that's why Zack Snyder tends to do his stuff at his scenes at night, because apparently like
well, it's not even at night. He'll like do it where it's like dusk or something like that. There's like a little bit of a hue, or he'll like put something out there where you can actually notice the sky.
Zack just knows how to shoot like a plate so that CG works good on the plate. I think he just knows how to like shoot it and put the lighting in right.
It's like they're overdoing it.
Lighting.
Yeah, again, they're overdoing it because they're learning the wrong lessons from how Zach knows how to do it well. So, and he does, and his like scenes are like a bit later in the day or like darker in the day. So they think, oh well, we'll just make it darker. We'll just make it at night.
See, but I think with Venom, I think like the main problem that I had with it was like, even though I love the movie, was that it's missing like the core of the character, which is that he's part of Spider-Man. Like the symbiote was on Spider-Man, and then it was on Venom. He doesn't have that like straight-laced character to like bounce off of. Whereas Spider-Man's like goody two-shoes, and Venom's like
they could retcon that if they ever wanted to.
But
they could. I mean, they own Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but the irony of that is that, on the other hand, you have Spider-Man 3, which completely completely centers on the whole like connection with Spider-Man, but it goes completely the wrong way and has
was a mistake.
Everyone
to respond to both Eric and Aaron, because I agree with Aaron. The thing, and it shows you I'm not a real Venom fan. The fascination of the character for me is that he's that contrast to Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
He has that previous relationship with Peter Parker because of the black suit thing, and then it goes to Eddie Brock, and they are completely different people. So, and even their physicality is so drastically different. So, but then to Eric was talking about, I still contend that with Spider-Man 3, the black suit as like a character motivation or like an emotional arc for Peter, like for a vehicle for his emotional arc, works perfectly. It's just the result is
again, like people think, like you were, like one of you guys were just saying that people think of Venom as a villain, even though he's not. And really,
he's an anti-hero. He's more of an anti-hero.
Because in the comics,
I want to see him start as a villain and then move.
Because like in the comics, it's not so much that Eddie Brock and Venom are bad guys. It's just that their conflict with Peter and Spider-Man is just personal. Like they're enemies at first because of personal issues. But Spider-Man 3 takes that too far because people think of Venom as a villain, and they have Topher Grace saying, "I like being the bad guy," which is completely not Venom at all.
Well, I think that's what's interesting about Venom, though, is like Eddie Brock hates Peter Parker because of all the stuff that goes on between him, and then Venom doesn't like Spider-Man, so it's like you've got a cool, like, they hate each other in two different ways. Like it's kind of like an interesting.
Yeah. They hate each other. They're enemies, but at the same time, Venom and Eddie are not villains.
Yeah.
So there's that tension between the two of them. But when push comes to the shove, they are up to like coming together to face Carnage. Let's say.
Yeah, and easy there, Jose. Tom Hardy's great in everything he does. Shut up.
I just want to see.
Tom Hardy does own it in the movie for sure.
I mean, like, I've said this a lot. I just want to see, like, if we're doing this whole multiverse thing, I want to see Topher Grace going, "I like being the bad guy," and then Tom Hardy going, "Well, we like eating the bad guy." Ah.
I hope they don't go crazy with this. I hope this multiverse thing is a plot line and a limited plot line, because I think it's a damn shame that I like Tom Holland Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And the first time I'm going to see Tom Holland go up against the Green Goblin is some other person's Green Goblin from 20 years ago. I enjoyed that Green Goblin when I paid to see that movie in 2002.
We were talking about that today on Ty's stream. It's like we're getting Goblin, we're getting Doc Ock, we're getting Electro, but it's not Tom Holland's.
Yeah,
I will say this, like, since it's pretty obvious that the Green Goblin we're going to be getting for the MCU is going to be Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin, who I guess isn't dead. So I guess, because look, there was long bit of speculation, because like in Spider-Man Homecoming, Tony sells Stark Tower to somebody, and we never know who. So the speculation has always been, so who did he sell it to?
Reed Richards?
Because the two big theories are he either sold it to Norman Osborn and it's Oscorp Tower now, or he sells it to Reed Richards and it's now the Baxter Building.
Yes.
So with Green Goblin and Norman Osborn presumably being Willem Dafoe, I think all the signs point to it being he sold it to Reed Richards and it's now the Baxter Building.
I don't think any of these characters are just outside of this Sony movie, though. Yeah. Because what I think is going to happen, and if Carnage, and people can disagree with me all they want, if Carnage makes money, good money, they're setting up the table to produce their own Spider-Man movies and not have him cluttered with 5,000 Avengers. Now there'll still be a deal where if the MCU and Disney still want to use Spider-Man in their stories, they can. But from once these two movies are done, the last 2 movies in their contract, I think Sony is going to take over the creative direction, and with Tom Holland, and they are setting the table, and they have been for the last 5 years, to bring their character back into their fold. They've got every advantage that they've needed from Marvel. It's been a great relationship, and everybody's won. But I think they know they have a very, very valuable IP, and they've been setting the table for quite some time. I think Venom was part of that. I think the Morbius was part of that. I think they're setting up a universe, and they were going to put him in the center of it, where Spider-Man belongs, in the center of his own universe.
Yeah, but see, they could have their cake and eat it too with that, though, because since they own Spider-Man, why not have Holland in the MCU version and then bring back Andrew or a new Spider-Man and have that be in the Venom Carnage universe.
I think they should bring back Andrew.
Have that just be in Andrew's universe.
I agree with that, and I'm one of the guys who doesn't like the 2 Amazing Spider-Man movies personally. But I would agree I would agree with putting Andrew Garfield as the contract of Venom.
The only flaw in that is if you give up all the gleam that you've spent the last 6 years with Holland in that universe. So when people make the general fan makes the connection when they start doing their solo movies, it's that Tom Holland, that Spider-Man that they've seen for the last 6 years. It's going to be an easier way to market. It's going to be a smoother transition. You're talking about Andrew Garfield that has not been Spider-Man for quite a while now.
I mean, Tom Holland has repeatedly said that he would love, that he's excited at the idea of him teaming up with Tom Hardy to do a Venom Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, there's been that.
That's what I mean. But then those are both Sony characters. And I think what's going to happen is with this multiverse thing, you're either going to see like what happened with Crisis, where all the realities got split and interwoven again in different ways, so where different things took place, or you're basically going to see the story retconned where you see a flashback where Tom Holland was involved with the black costume before the events of Venom. Somehow they retconned it that way, but they're definitely building a universe to put him in the center of it, and it makes the most sense because you control your own IP at this point, and people.
I think they'll just have to they're just going to have to do something, because I think if you start doing too much of that, that's really going to confuse general audiences. Like if you're like, well, the realities is split, I think they're going to have to figure out some way to keep Tom where he's at, and but also have a Spider-Man that's not, because
that's what I think is going to happen. I think you're just going to have
put Tom on
Spider-Man
Disney
solo
Plus.
movies. So Spider-Man solo movies, but you're not going to have. It's going to be from Sony's point of view, and you're not going to have Uncle Tony, Uncle Stephen Strange, Uncle whoever they are. Because the problem is as much faith as they have and all their other stuff, they seem to have a lot of problem putting faith in Spider-Man as being the center of a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
Again, they're bringing in his rogues gallery, but it's not Tom Holland's rogues gallery.
Well, see, that's why they've shot themselves in the foot, though, because as with in the Maguire movies, you felt like all of his movies, there was this bigger. It's weird because to me, Tom's universe feels like the smallest Spider-Man universe, even though he's in the MCU. Yeah. You don't hear any mention of Uncle Ben, Norman Osborn, Doc Ock, not even passing mentions of any of them. He doesn't go, "Hey, I just got out of I can't remember the professor that turns into the lizard. What's his name?
Connor.
He's not like, "Oh, I just had a class at Connor's" or something MCU Spider-Man has no extended universe at all, and I think that's sucks because other.
Well, I think they were trying to do that with Homecoming, because they had that one dude that was Scorpion, and they have there as well as Vulture. So it's like they were trying very hard. They were trying very hard not to use the same villains. I think that's why they went Vulture.
We do have Prowler. We do have Prowler in Homecoming. We did have Prowler.
Prowler. They established that with Donald Glover, right?
He was supposed to be Prowler.
Yeah, he's Prowler.
He's that character in the comics.
And he also he briefly mentions that he has a nephew in New York City. Who of course is Miles Morales.
So they could have. They could have been setting it up where they, where they were going to do a run with Tom Holland, and then finish him out or I don't know, kill off the character and then pass the baton to Miles Morales, and that would but who knows? Like they could do that, they could not do that, and I don't think the Spider-Verse, the multiverse thing wasn't probably in the plans when they were developing Far From Home.
It's funny. It's funny because like the recent Spider-Man games are really like showing how you can have Peter Parker and Miles Morales around. Basically, someone brought up that in a way, it's almost like Miles is the Robin to Peter's Batman, if you will.
Yeah.
But that is
kind of established that into the Spideyverse.
Yeah, but that is going to
be Tom Holland into college first.
Yeah, I know, but it is going to be a little odd because Tom Holland's kind of young to be a mentor. But
they really need to ride Tom Holland, that character, that Spider-Man, before they even delve into Miles Morales.
Tom can't be a mentor.
There needs to be like three. There needs to be like 3 more movies after this before
we're literally celebrating the 10th anniversary.
I would love to see it.
Of Morales' creation. I think we got plenty of time to flesh.
Yeah, we got plenty of time, and not to mention, I mean, they got into the Spideyverse. He was the fucking center of attention there, and that movie was amazing. So it's like, hey, keep him there for right now.
Do not put him in the MCU.
Don't put him in there yet.
And it was great to have Prowler make a brief reference to his nephew, who we all know is Miles, but then that's it for a while.
Yeah.
They're introducing Feast Center in the new one. I think there was some set photos that showed Feast, which could tie into like I think Miles's mom has something to do with that in the comics with the Feast Center. So we may actually see something about Miles in No Way Home, which would would be fine. But I'm with you guys. Like, I don't want him in the actual. Like, I feel like he just wouldn't. Yeah. It wouldn't work in the MCU.
Yeah, he should be like a little kid right now, as far as like.
Well, he's 14, and the strength of Miles Morales' character is what's been lost in the MCU version of Spider-Man is the solitary nature of the character and him being isolated to a point where he has to figure things out on his own. Now he has mentors and he has people that help him, but he doesn't. Peter Parker created his own costumes, created his own web shooters. Figured things out on his own. He didn't need a multi-billionaire robot man to help him. He didn't need an agency like S.H.I.E.L.D. to be bothering him on his field trip. Yeah. Peter Parker, all the way up to Empire State University, that was the appeal of Spider-Man. That was the appeal because every kid could feel like he was Spider-Man.
Although, to be fair, in the early comics back in the 60s, like people often forget this. They're saying, well, why are you having Peter just like basically being like a protege and having like, Iron Man as his mentor? Well, in the early comics, he did have a mentor, only it wasn't Tony, it was Reed Richards. So like he was constantly hanging out with the Fantastic Four, and Mr. Fantastic was his mentor in the early comics.
It was occasionally, and he would go to Reed Richards when there was like a super scientific problem. But his own development, his own being, as far as the way he looks, the way he developed his technology, that came from Peter Parker. And when you compare the comics versus the movies, Spider-Man is who came to your books when your book sales sucked. When you had a crappy time in your book and your book was about to get canceled or it needed the boost, like Doctor Strange's 10 canceled comics, guess who showed up? Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the main character. He's not the side bitch. And that's what he's used in MCU. When all these titles were doing bad, guess who showed up? You know what? And that's the way. Why? Because he's the one you build the universe around. But now I understand Disney and MCU had their own thing, and that they didn't need him, for the first 6-7 years of their universe. But if you're Sony and you own that IP, you really should be building a universe around him and telling stories. Like now, I won't see the Hobgoblin or Green Goblin for the first time. I get to see someone else's Green Goblin, hopefully in his own solo movies. Maybe I'll get to see the Hobgoblin. He has to figure out.
MCU has shot themselves in the foot so bad though now because like Kevin Feige, like I know the deal is great with Sony, but the problem they're going to run into is now they can never like. Can you like remember the backlash when we thought, or like, well, not me, but like when people thought that Tom was leaving the MCU?
Yeah,
they are so screwed now. What are they going to do? Like if Sony wants him back, and what are they going to do? Have like everybody in the MCU like just forget about him? Like.
No. Listen, Sony's taking him back. I made a bet with somebody on the stream that Sony. I bet him this autograph Alex Ross cover that Sony is after this deal. They're going to take his character back. It makes no business sense for them to do otherwise. But guess what? Marvel's going to be fine. the thing that people, the misnomer is that either of these sides are desperate for each other. Marvel and Disney are going to do just fine with what they got available, and Sony's going to do just fine without having 5,000 other characters in their Spider-Man movies.
The problem is, though, look at like No Way Home. No Way Home is now the most viewed trailer ever in existence, and it's set in the MCU. So now, what are they going to do? Disney's not going to know what to do moving forward. Like they're going to be like, well, they
have tons of characters.
Yeah, there's
tons of characters to use, and guess what? Those from 2008 to 2014, I did just fine. And you can only put so many characters in any of these movies. There's only so much screen time. So me not having Spider-Man there, I have Reed Richards, I have the Flame, I have the Celestials, I have the Eternals, I have all these other characters that I could use. You only have so much time, and that's what's happened. Is everything's become so cluttered that people don't realize just how many characters that they have at their disposal. Sony, on the other end, they need to sell while it's high. Take their character now while all this exposure's been on them, and you take that exposure and you make your own deal with it.
Well, and don't get me wrong, I actually want Sony to do the Spider-Man thing on their own. Like, I want them to take Spider-Man back and make their own movies again, because I actually prefer vastly the Sony-made Spider-Man movies over the Disney-made ones.
They made the two best ones, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at Spider-Man 2. That's like one of the greatest. Yeah, but what I'm saying is
Sony creatively at all, to be honest.
And I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I'm like, yeah, like, you know, Sony has all the power here. Like, Sony can they've got the financial thing with Spider-Man, and they need Spider-Man. My thing is like, you're going to have people, I think, especially like general audiences that are like, that don't follow this stuff, and they're going to watch these movies going forward and like, well, where's Spider-Man? Like,
I see what you're saying, but I don't see it, because I think Feige and their creative staff have enough fireworks to distract you from one little character.
Yeah.
And like I said, when I go to watch the Eternals, when I finally do get to see Shang-Chi, I'm not thinking about Spider-Man. When I finally see Fantastic Four here, I'm not thinking about Spider-Man. I'm just there's just going to be too much blazing in front of my eyes.
All right,
to you know,
Spider-Man at Fantastic Four for a bit, because look, they really have to make sure that this one actually does well, because look,
Fantastic Four,
third time. This is their third time.
Well, what's funny is
first try.
Yeah, their first try.
Yeah.
But even like the original first one was pretty good.
I actually like that movie.
I actually like the Silver. I like the Silver Surfer as well as a character. Maybe the whole movie didn't work. Silver Surfer was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, Galactus being a cloud of dust and
that was kind of shitty.
I can't wait to see Galactus in this universe.
Yeah.
See, just there, right there. I'm not going to be thinking about Peter Parker when Galactus is coming down out of the sky and the Watcher is saying, "Okay, guess what's coming next." But it's just there's just so much on their plate. And conversely, the general fan is they're going to see Tom Holland. They're going to see Tom Holland and Spider-Man. They're going to buy their ticket. Yeah. And the only thing that Sony can do to screw this up is to make an awful movie. And
but the next time there's an Avengers movie and if Spider-Man isn't a part of it, the general audience will be asking, "Where's Spider-Man? Isn't he part of the Avengers?"
Not necessarily. If they do that, that means Kevin Feige has failed to put things in the movie to keep you engaged, and he's not going to fail.
No, people ask.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man is so much of a hot commodity.
You were just saying a second ago, though, it's kind of the same thing with the comics, where like you were talking about, you have stuff that doesn't work so well. They bring Spider-Man in. Spider-Man's one of those characters where like you want to see him interact with everybody else. Like you want to see.
It's not dependent on it. See, with the comics,
I know, but
his guest appearance was dependent. That was the sex of that book was dependent upon that guest appearance. The MCU was doing fine before him. They're going to do that fine.
Yeah, but see, they opened up this.
I think we're agreeing with on that, but like I want to see Spider-Man interact with Deadpool finally. Like I want to see.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I'm saying that the solo movies won't be Marvel creative driven. They will
but,
be.
Okay.
I would be fine with that. I would be actually.
You know what? Again, I've said this before, but really, the perfect way to have Deadpool do his next standalone Deadpool movie, Deadpool 3, since he's going to be in the MCU, call it Deadpool kills the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They won't do that. They're not going to do that.
But
they will never do that.
Just title it that.
Maybe a what if episode. Don't have him literally kill it off.
I like
just
that.
Title it that. and have him constantly, while he's interacting with the MCU, constantly making snarky remarks to the camera about it. And
That
it's
might
basically
hold.
that.
They're not going to
That
do
might
that.
go. That might 15 minutes away after the 50th joke. I'll be like, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
No, but I do like
hey,
the idea about the what if, though. I think that
All
would
right.
be a good
Yeah,
introduction.
maybe.
That
Yeah,
might be a
maybe.
good
That
way
would
to
be
actually
good.
introduce him, and he can actually acknowledge he's like, "What? I'm not good enough for a movie. You stuck me on Disney Plus." Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
that would be
And
great.
also,
You're animating me now.
And also, look, if they can't make Deadpool 3 rated R because Disney or whatever, the perfect way to do that is have him do his typical Deadpool like cursing and all that, but bleep it out and have Deadpool whine about it.
That would be
basically,
funnier, I think. That would be more
Yeah.
creative, I think.
That would be just so funny, and have him go, "What? I
think it'd be funny,
Disney!"
it'd be funny like twice maybe, but I don't want the
Kind of.
entire movie just bleeps every like 5 minutes, like because he curses every 2 seconds in his movies.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
I
like,
personally have no interest
you,
in seeing
Disney.
Deadpool in the MCU.
He would have to acknowledge the fact that he can't. cuss.
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and
He's
stop
only-
doing
he's-
it.
He's
Like-
allotted like one F-bomb, and like
Yeah.
somebody else like
And-
takes it or something like that. I
And
don't
then
know.
later on, and then at some point, just have him like realizing he can't curse anymore. He looks at the camera and goes, "Beep, you Disney!"
Yeah.
I don't
This
know
is the
about a
perfect way to do
Deadpool, a version of Deadpool where Ryan Reynolds doesn't have the utmost control over the character. He's got to hand
Seriously.
control of that
Seriously.
character.
Oh,
The
yeah.
control
That
freak
man,
with
I mean-
Feige. I'm not interested in that.
I mean, Feige's got to realize like that guy knows how to. I mean, look how Free Guy is just killing it.
Yeah.
Free Guy is killing it, and the fact
And
that
just-
Reynolds did like what did
did
they
you
say?
see-
Like he did like 85 like campaigns or something, and normally
you
a
see
movie
the
gets
trailer?
like 15. And it's hold on, when like just the way that anything that he posts on his social media, the stuff that he does with his aviation gin and everything, it's like Feige better realize that like you better let this man do his thing and just let it be. If you're not gonna, especially if you're gonna end up losing your Spider-Man, it's like you got a Deadpool all of a sudden. So and
That's a
Ryan
good
Reynolds.
point.
That's why I don't think they'll fully bring Deadpool. They might play with it a little bit, but they'll. When it comes to the majority of the MCU movies, Deadpool's not going to have any real effect.
He
on
may
it.
have a cameo, but I hope his solo movies, once again, that character's DNA is built on something that's not MCU. And Ryan Reynolds, that is Ryan Reynolds. That is, you cut that character open, it bleeds Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
And I can't, when he has to give up creative control, because the problem I have with MCU is Spider-Man. MCU is great, and they fit their own purposes. Kevin Feige does what he needs for the whole of his movies. But you have solo characters like Deadpool and Spider-Man that exist in their own universe and that should exist in their own universe, and that's where they draw their strength. It's not in those solo characters' interest to be in clutter. You know?
I mean, when they start really building out their X-Men side of the universe, then I could see them trying to bring
weird.
Then I could see them bringing Deadpool into that a little bit more, but not like the Avengers.
Maybe that
By the
team
way,
up, yeah.
Did you guys?
I don't think you're going to see the Avengers again. I'm going to
Did
make
you guys? Yeah.
No, they'll be back.
Yeah.
No.
Did you guys see the trailer?
They'll be back.
not as a group.
Which trailer? Which trailer? Go ahead, Eric.
The trailer where it's Deadpool and Korg watching the trailer
Free Guy.
for Free Guy, and they're commenting.
Did you
on it.
watch Free Guy? Did you watch Free Guy?
Mm-hmm.
Did anybody watch Free Guy here?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, it was a great movie.
Eric, did you watch Free Guy?
Not yet.
Ah, see, there's more.
The marketing
There's more
didn't
in
work.
there.
There was a
The marketing
I
didn't
just don't
work.
feel like
Oh,
There was
guys,
a-
I want
You
to
haven't
see
seen
it.
yet. We won't
I
say
want
anything.
to see it, but excuse me, but I need to arrange. I need to have like the set date for like a friend of mine and I to see it. Okay, I
Okay.
want to see it.
No. I'm just saying there's more in there. Like if you thought that was great, that there was that little crossover of Korg and Deadpool. Yeah, there's more. Like, and Ryan Reynolds is even expressed like he helped do all that. I mean, there's in the final act, there's some shit that happens where the whole theater erupted. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's what I'm.
Mine
That's what I'm
did too.
getting at. Is like the fact that now he has. If he's going to be, if he's part of Fox, or he was part of Fox and now he's part of Disney, he's got all these things that he could play with, and he knows how to fucking,
But he
market.
has
He
to
knows
do
how
it
to cross it over.
Yeah, he's got to be allowed to do
that
it.
I know what you're talking about, Dave, and that was a brilliant moment.
That was awesome.
It was very awesome. The whole
The thing they're gonna have to realize though is like with Ryan Reynolds, Kevin Feige and co of Marvel are going to have to be like, look, Ryan, make your movie. This doesn't have to be dependent on anything else. It doesn't have to set up anything else. Right. Don't put shackles on him and be like, okay, well, it has to set up maybe like this X-Men thing, or like just let him make a freaking Deadpool movie. And if Ryan wants to connect things from the MCU, let him pull stuff in.
Yeah.
But I think if you start doing like a whole thing where it's like, oh, it's got to be like a prequel for this character, and
Iron Man's got to be.
And how much longer are they gonna? I mean, I don't know how much Ryan Reynolds wants to keep going, but I mean, do they have more than a third movie in them, to do it, or or do they, or is it just like make the third Deadpool movie and then be done?
I kind of wonder what happened to X-Force. Remember, they were supposed to do X-Force, like.
Yeah,
what happened with that?
It now does.
He sort of destroyed it within the movie itself.
I mean, he kind of did, but
then remember at the very, very end, you see now that he has the time travel devices from Cable, he's basically going back to save them. So.
Yeah, but they X-Force, that whole like movie plan kind of fell in the same hole as like DC's old slate, like where they just DC went through that phase where they just announced like 400 movies, and then we're just like, hey, these are coming, get excited, and then they were like, well, we lost a director, and like, oh, this didn't work out, scheduling, and like they just started.
What did they announce lately? They've announced a bunch of stuff lately that I swear is not going to happen.
Oh no!
It's not going to happen. I don't care if you name the actor. Until I see footage of you behind the scenes and interviewing the stars on the set, half this stuff that they've announced is not.
Dude, The Flash is literally filming right now, and I've literally seen people comment on things, being like, "Yeah, we'll see if this movie happens." Like, and they're shooting it. Like,
and you know what? I think Muschietti, if he's probably stalling so the management can overturn, and he can make different decisions, but going down the road and add things.
Namely, I would not be surprised if along those lines that like he may be like stalling a little bit so that when David Zaslav and crew come to power, he can say, "Hey, can we bring Ray Fisher in to do the Victor scenes?"
Ooh, wouldn't that be sweet?
This company really needs a management change, not just because what people think about Hamada and what people think about Emmerich. What I mean by old Hollywood is that, like I said, these next couple of years, the movie cinema, the movie houses are not going to be the focal point of revenue. And we still have guys running the show that are literally been in Hollywood for 2 and 3 decades using the old schematic and the old tools. Whereas you have, the only person currently in Warner Brothers right now that has their mindset of the future was, what's his face? Keelar.
Yeah,
he's the only one I think if anybody stays, it's going to be him.
Well, see, the problem that they're looking at is like, even people that aren't into like we all kind of like follow the beat of like movies and the filmmaking aspect, and we're on Twitter and stuff. But like even like even friends of mine that are like casual movie people, they know who Kevin Feige is. They're like, oh, Kevin Feige, like the Marvel guy. DC, Warner Brothers, have that. It's such a soulless kind of like company thing. You're like, you don't have anybody that you can look at and be like, wow, they're really like pushing this train forward and everything. Like,
I mean, they got close with Johns, but then it's just like that went.
Look what happened with that.
I mean, what's his name? Jim Lee was trying to be that, and he was the one who was promoting the whole multiverse, and then the whole multiverse thing kind of got like died down a bit with saying, "Oh no, you can't. Oh no, Zach, you can't use your own Green Lantern because we have our own show. But you got a multiverse. Who cares?"
Jim Lee could be the upfront face of the DCEU if the executives really believed in the brand. That's the thing. They don't believe in the brand, even though, like, you're right, William. Jim Lee's not a filmmaker, so he doesn't have the chops that a Kevin Feige does by any means, by any stretch. His role would have to be very, very different than how Kevin Feige does it if he were to really be oversee DC films. But I've been to Jim Lee's panels at Comic-Con. He's an entertaining dude. Like he knows how to interact with the crowd. So I think he could be a really good spokesperson if they wanted him to be. I mean, he was very upfront at DC Fandom and led that really, really well. So he can be that, and he's a far more positive guy overall than probably a lot of the other, and like knows how to bring that energy compared to how
I would say so.
number of other people at Warner Brothers. So so the fact, so he could be that upfront face, but like he's at the same time he's probably not the best decision maker in terms of production. I have no idea.
The reason that Feige was such a good choice is because Kevin Feige has been producing Marvel movies since the early 2000s. X-Men, all the Spider-Man films, he's had a hand in even these movies that they necessarily weren't well received, like some of the X-Men films, but he had a hand in it. And I think that's the problem that DC doesn't have anybody that is like the face of like, hey, this is our DC universe. Like
this is the guy.
Before
we continue, we got a couple more guys that are showing up right here. We got Philip and we got Doug. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Of the choices we currently have, I would pick Charles Roven, but that's just me.
He would have been pretty good. I think.
Yeah,
you need somebody that's like a people person. You need somebody that's like Kevin Feige who goes up there and he's like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm in a baseball game."
I know.
Like,
and then when people were saying that Snyder should have been that, I'm like, no, he's a filmmaker. Okay, he's not gonna. Like he was setting the foundation, sure, but he wants to make movies. He's not gonna be like holding down like this whole
Zach is a hype man, and Kevin Feige's a hype man for sure.
True. Zach's more concerned with telling a cohesive story than he is about like trying to connect a bunch of like dots and stuff. Like
for sure.
Which I respect.
Although the funny thing about that, what you just said, is that, and people have been pointing this out about how the old outline, the old storyboard synopsis, does seem to be connecting a lot to Aquaman 2 and The Flash and Wonder Woman 3. So maybe
let's hope.
The guy that needs to take over is Jeff Rubinoff, the guy who didn't get the job when Kevin Ishihara got it. That was the guy who brought in Nolan. That was the guy who brought in Snyder. That guy needs to be sitting shotgun with Jim Lee, and together.
Let's just make Debbie Snyder the person in charge. Like,
there you go.
She's a producer.
Just
make Debbie in charge.
Well, she's running Stone Quarry, so she's got her interest there.
Rubinoff or Alan Horn, right? He was a big Snyder guy.
Yeah.
Alan Horn.
He's
now, though, isn't he?
about to retire, and then
But he's retiring from Disney. He could be a very good interim. Oh, okay.
But you should mention that because honestly, Alan Horn was much better at Warner Brothers than he is at Disney. Honestly, so bring him back to Warner Brothers.
I think Rubinoff's coming back simply because they want to rebuild relationships with people that they've lost, and that's the best way to do it, is to bring back the guy that hired them to begin with. And I think if you're looking for Snyder to ever do anything with DC films again, I think the key is bringing the guy who shook his hand for the very first time.
Especially because you said that he was the one who brought in a Nolan. Well, with Nolan basically going to like Netflix, and basically because he's like understandably pissed off with Warner Brothers. I mean, you got to bring someone who was his friend.
I think he's going to make an actual nuclear bomb.
Yeah. I think that's his intent with his next movie. He's going to literally make an atomic bomb with Cillian Murphy and shop it around to like Universal or someone, and then they're going to put the movie out and be like, sucks for you, WB.
It can't be fake. It can't be fake. It's
top to bottom. You lose Nolan.
Cruise will literally launch a nuclear weapon.
Hey, Doug, by the way, turn your mic down just a main. It's a little less.
Cillian Murphy is absolutely playing Oppenheimer then?
That's what's been like.
No, I don't
know if it's for sure, but it's like it's early talk, so who knows?
I mean,
I'd like to see it.
In how many movies has Cillian Murphy been?
Right.
He's been,
with Nolan, almost nearly all of them.
Guess what studio is going to get that movie though?
Universal.
No, it's going to be Warner Brothers, and I'll you know why?
I doubt that.
By the time this movie even goes into production, the guys who pissed him off will not be there.
Oh, that's true.
The people who he is friends with will be. So you got and he's Netflix. The whole thing about him was he wanted the movie going experience. So Netflix is even if they allow your film to go there, their whole thing is keeping people coming to their streaming service. And Warner and Universal's not going to outbid Warner Brothers for that. It's about business. If different management is involved and they outbid them, that movie, I bet you anything that movie is going to be a Warner Brothers movie. Not the Warner Brothers.
You know what? I mean, if Netflix secures the deal with Nolan, in order to do that, they're going to have to do what they did with with Martin Scorsese and make sure that the movie is released in theaters first.
Well, he'll make
Nolan's gonna want that IMAX release. That's the thing.
Yeah. Nolan's a big theatrical person,
Yeah.
so it's
He'll
only
make it
standard
IMAX.
reason that whoever he goes into business with to make this movie, WB or not,
Did you see that video that about the corn? Like, I didn't even realize this that they actually grew all that corn for the Interstellar.
Oh yeah,
and he asked Zack Snyder for like tips about that.
I didn't know about that part. I remember hearing
Wow.
Nolan making a
News to
profit
me.
off of it.
And then
but-
all of a sudden he sold the corn smart and then made a profit. Yeah. I'm like, that's what you do right there.
Wait, that was real corn? Like
Yeah.
a real cornfield?
Oh yeah.
Jessica Chastain shared that on Letterman years back when.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Until I saw the video on my feed.
We literally have like such advanced CGI, and Nolan's like, we're gonna grow a freaking field of corn, guys. Like,
he's a realistic
Do it.
filmmaker.
yeah, let's do it.
He doesn't want to. I mean, like looking in Tenet, he was like, "No, we're crashing this fucking plane."
Yeah.
into this hangar.
I'm telling
I don't
you.
give a shit.
I'm betting he just drops a real nuke for the next movie. That's what he does. He just drops an actual bomb. Like,
Well, that would be a little dramatic.
Yeah.
It'll be a violation.
Where
of the
can we
treaty.
drop this thing at, please?
yeah. We're in the desert. Is like nobody at. Like,
Let's not do
He's
that.
gonna build an island, drop the bomb
Drop
on
it in
it.
Afghanistan for all it's
Just
worth.
do it like that. So, Doug, do you have your physical copy of Zack Snyder's Justice League? No.
Oh yeah, of course. My mic okay? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. I think it's good now. It's
Okay.
good.
Yes, I do
Yes.
have it. It's
What about you, Phil? Same thing?
Oh yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Same day. Came in the
So,
mail.
so,
I was pretty happy.
William and me are the only ones that still don't have our physical copies.
Actually, funny enough, I actually just wrapped a part 1 kind of weird watch with Nicotina Show and ACS, Zeverfed, a couple other people, and they're talking about it right now. But I hopped in here because I wanted to give you some love, even though we just talked a couple days ago. But
I mean, it's going to sell out.
Always a
without
good
me.
time on here.
It's
Yeah.
going to sell out without me. So.
I know. Yeah, I know. True. It's very true. I'm just,
I don't even know if I even have a Blu-ray player anymore.
well, now after all the Spider-Man and Wolverine stuff, I'm like, damn, now I got to hunt for a PS5. Aaron and I were
I
talking
know.
about that.
Dude, seriously,
Yeah.
like, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I
don't
almost
feel
bought-
behind the times though, because I just bought a PS4 and it's 2021. So
Dude, I'm
Yeah.
on my second PS4. I still own both mine, but I want a PS5 now.
I can't find a PS5, and the ones that are for sale are
one
like
either.
$900, and I'm like, no, I have a PC. Like,
Ain't gonna happen. Yeah,
not
I'm
gonna
right there with
spend
you.
yeah,
I don't
I'm
know. I'm as of right now, I'm content with my PS3, but mainly because I'm focusing on Skyrim and GTA 5 and all that good stuff. So that's just me.
I'm always a system behind, so I'm doing. I did Arkham Knight and Spider-Man, and I'm gonna do Miles Morales, and so.
see,
Yeah.
When the first Spider-Man game
I'm
came
an
out,
Xbox guy, so I got my
went
Xbox
to
One.
Best Buy and I stared at a PS4. I'm like, should I do it? I mean, I almost
know.
pulled the trigger. I actually am glad I waited. I think I'm going to try to get a PS5, even though nobody can get one. But I think I'm going to wait, because there's a lot of good games coming out. I mean, Jesus Christ, that Wolverine game is probably going to be. I mean, can you imagine going Wolvie Berserker on some
Yeah,
people,
right.
in that
Okay.
style? Jesus.
I have a
Like,
question.
For the past couple of years, I was debating with myself, okay, should I just go cheaper and get a PS3 or should I get a PS4? Because I was hoping that with PS5 coming out, the PS4, the prices would plummet, but then COVID happened. They stopped production of PS5, so the prices of PS4 went up, and I went, screw it, PS3.
see, I ruined myself though because I've like PC gamed for like 8 years now, and like it looks so much better on PC. So I'm playing certain things on my PS4 now, and I'm like, oh god, like, oh jeez.
Plus,
See,
you
I
can
built my
mod things
computer
on
at
your.
the tail end of December, and I don't do much PC gaming, but I've been like kind of dipping and dabbing and back in Halo. And I guess there is kind of a difference between that and the original Xbox 360, what have you. But even still, like I'm kind of like an open-ended gamer. I have a PlayStation, a Switch. I want a PS5, but I'm like not in really any rush to get one. But
Yeah.
I will
I-
absolutely get one for
Plus you can
Spider-Man.
plus you can mod things with your with the PC versions that you can't.
I don't even do that. That stuff's boring to me. I just podcast on my computer. That's really what I built my computer for.
Well,
so.
honestly, if you can use if you can mod so that you're using a lightsaber on Skyrim, I don't know. That sounds cool to me, but I don't think
You guys are a bunch of geeks, man.
Knights of the Old Republic was the.
Thanks.
The guy who
Hey, I'll
works
see that
at
we're
the
here, William.
Wi-Fi center just called us geeks.
I never got in the game because I have an addictive personality, and if I ever did get
Oh, me
into
too.
it,
I'm with you.
none of this would be here.
No. I'm totally with you. That's why I have not gotten like the last time I had a console in my place was when I had a roommate, and he got it, and I would when the Arkham games came out. Arkham, it was just like the first two. This is that how far long ago that was. It would just be like 5 hours. You just go like that, and all of a sudden I'm like, Jesus Christ, what happened to the time? Yeah, because like I fall into it as well. So
I know.
Right? Every day. Yeah.
Those Assassin's Creed games suck you.
I stopped after 4. Couldn't get into them after 4.
Yeah.
Never got into it.
Okay, I have a question because even though I play games, I don't really fancy myself a gamer. So I've been an Xbox guy for a while, mainly going back to because of the Halo games. So I have an Xbox One, and I know Xbox One X is supposed to like have like Dolby Vision on it as part of the deal. But does PS5 make the better run of games that people are more into? Is that what the deal is?
I mean, it really boils down.
Exclusives.
Yeah, it boils down to exclusivity. Honestly,
I know. To the best of my knowledge, I mean, for the longest time, PlayStation had Final Fantasy as its exclusive game.
Yeah,
but then at the same time, Xbox had Halo. But now, as far as I know, Xbox still has Halo as exclusive, but you can now get Final Fantasy anywhere.
They've ported a few Final Fantasy games to Xbox. Yes, they've done 15. They've done, I think, 13's now on Game Pass, and Halo, I think, is still exclusively on Xbox and PC.
Yeah. So as of right now, it's just do I do PlayStation or Xbox? Well, do you want to do Halo? It's as simple as that.
Yeah, but see, now you've got Wolverine, you've got the Spider-Man games, you've got God of War, Ratchet and Clank. Like I bought a PS1 when it came out exclusively just to play Metal Gear. Like all the Metal Gear games. That's why I had a PlayStation. So like I've just always had a PlayStation, and the exclusives that have always been like really awesome. So
I mean, I didn't know Last of Us was a thing until Last of Us 2 came out. So
I love PlayStation. I can't play Last of Us. I just can't get into it.
Way back when, back in the old days of PS1 and PS2, I mean, Spyro the Dragon was exclusive to PlayStation, but not anymore.
I did get the original PlayStation for like the Resident Evil games.
Yeah,
those were fun. But then eventually switched over to Xbox because I didn't.
I don't think I've ever had. I don't think I've ever had an Xbox. I've been all about PlayStation as well. But
I've always been PlayStation. I mean, I've played Xbox, but I've never had one. But it's like, okay, like Halo's cool, but it's like, okay, I've never really. I grew up with
Halo's fun with a group of people.
Yeah.
See, I'm the opposite. I play all the time, so I don't feel like I make any real progress on Halo. I get shot in like 3 seconds.
So I got to ask you guys. We had a new trailer that came out this week. What do you guys think?
For a movie I'm not looking forward to.
All right. Time to kick out William.
You talking about Matrix?
Of course.
Oh, okay. All right. Just making sure I didn't miss one.
Oh, you mean iSex? Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let me kick this off. Let me kick this off.
iSex, that movie looks freaking amazing.
I know.
Because look, the Wachowskis, they have not been doing their best work for the past few years. So I was not when I heard
what are you referring to in the past for a few years though.
Yeah, I know, but it's just like
exactly.
But look, here's the thing: when they announced, Matrix 4, I was like, okay, is this just going to be another one of those distant sequels that they just bring in and that just bland, it just does not live up to the originals? No, but then we saw that trailer, and I'm like, I'm in. I like this trailer. This is solid. This is something cool. But could just be another a cool trailer for a blah movie. But I don't know. It's a
I hope we don't get a Terminator Genesis out of this or something like that. Because
no, don't even say that.
I don't think that's possible because one of the original directors is coming.
We need Dave.
That's what gives me hope.
You need to throw salt across your shoulder or something like that.
I know. I should do that. No, I just remember when that came out and it was like, oh man, and then James Cameron was pushing it. It's like, oh yeah,
it made me mad because I liked parts of
Genesis.
good stuff in it. Just like the majority of the movie was kind of dumb. Like the premise of it was dumb. They're like, hey, remember the first movie?
Ugh.
You know?
Remember the second movie?
It was called
I was pumped.
because of the weird spelling.
Yeah, I was pumped.
Yeah, with
I
the
was
Y.
pumped for
Yeah.
Genesis. I was pumped for Terminator Genesis until the trailer revealed that John Connor is coming back, but he's a Terminator. He's a bad Terminator now.
Where they reveal
why?
everything.
The casting was not good because, I mean, Emilia Clarke, but I didn't think I don't know.
She doesn't have that. She doesn't have that, like, I will literally, like, stab you.
She's not quite Sarah. She's not quite Linda Hamilton.
She was Sarah Connor in the first movie.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
The second one. She wasn't badass Sarah Connor.
No.
And then Jai Courtney, get the fuck out of here being rude. He was not even come on. That was not even close. And then what was his name? Michael Clark, right? What was the John Connor guy?
Jason Clarke.
I can't remember. That's how much I remember that movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
I didn't feel
because Jason Clarke's a really good actor.
Yes, but it's just I didn't feel him as John Connor.
Well, because they made him
Genesis. That's Alan Taylor. He did Thor:
stupid.
The Dark World. He's also done some Game of Thrones episodes. Yeah.
He recently said that he almost walked away from filmmaking after doing both of those movies.
Yeah.
Because they were
because the episodes he directed Game of Thrones were good though. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's a good director, but
like in the end, the only thing that I look back at with Genesis and find it worth watching was the whole the YouTube title for it was Arnold versus Arnold, where he's facing the Arnold from the first movie.
That was cool. I'll give
I've been waiting for
you. In the actual movie, that boiled down to just being like a trailer moment.
Yeah,
I know.
They fought for like 2 seconds. They did it just so in the trailer they could be like, "Oh, they're gonna fight!" Like,
yeah.
And then when they they do the reenactment and all that stuff, and you're kind of like you're back in the first movie, but it's not. What was great about that was like, hey, that was a young Bill Paxton. That was like one of those fucking like Mohawk dudes, and it was like
rest in peace.
Yeah,
I liked Dark Fate a lot better than Genesis, for sure.
Yeah, Dark Fate was better.
Yeah. If I honestly had to pick a ranking of them, I would probably go T1.
Problems.
2. I agree.
Dark Fate was just like, okay, so you're basically going to completely spit on the whole heroic sacrifice that Arnold
pretty
did
much what happened.
Movie.
Yeah, when that happened, I looked at my brother. I went, they just kind of shit on the whole legacy, didn't they? I mean, John Connor just died.
What was the point of that? No.
And Cameron was totally A-okay with that too.
What's that?
Cameron was totally A-okay with that too. Just often John Connor at the beginning of the movie. Okay, cool. But
and it's like you had Linda Hamilton back. Other than that, it was just same fucking story. It's like that's the one thing about Salvation that I always liked was the fact that they were trying to do something different. But it's McG and he's a little, I don't know, he's not the best of directors.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's a little too flashy, a little too, style over.
I mean, if I had an order, it's T1, 2, Salvation, 3.
I like
Dark Fate, Genesis.
I like that you
mine's
said
T1,
T1
T2,
first.
T3, and I forget the rest.
I would flip
I'm
T2.
glad you
I
also
can't
put
condone
T1 at the
T3's
top.
in the best of a pile. It's a mess.
Made the most sense.
Yeah.
DC made the most sense. It's the only one of the entire series that explains the entire timeline, how inevitable
T2? You said? T2?
T3.
Oh, T3 makes the most sense?
Yeah. Now, here's why.
Well, not the character that Arnold plays in that movie. That goofy, I'm the sergeant dude. That guy.
But no, the way they basically, all they did was delay Judgment Day because it was always going to happen. They always thought that finding technology was the key.
T3 had a really great ending because
I liked it.
I can agree with that.
They're gonna make it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh wait, we're in a fucking bomb shelter. What?
Yeah. And he tried to tell
the bombs go off, and it was like, whoa, okay, that was cool.
Your job was to survive.
It was rocky.
Yeah, Nick Stahl wasn't exactly the best John Connor.
Dude, they cast somebody that didn't even resemble Edward.
Yeah, that was just not a good call at all.
Wasn't Furlong on drugs though?
Yeah,
I'm kind of with you.
But at least cast somebody that resembles it. See, that's the thing. The casting in the Terminator series has been really
nobody looks like anybody else.
John Connor has 7 different faces. It's insane.
Christian Bale. I mean, I'm kind of with
Christian Bale. See, with Christian Bale, I can actually kind of believe.
I thought
he kind of resembled.
I mean, I'm more with you, Dave. That after 1 and 2, the only sequel that was really worth making was Salvation, because after the two movies, like the second movie ends in a way that it feels like, with Arnold's heroic sacrifice and all that, like killing himself so that he makes sure that
was BS though. That's the problem. That would have never. That's why I hate that part of the movie, because soon as Dyson dies, if everything that whole premise of that movie is built for, soon as Dyson dies, everybody should start disappearing. The only one that should be in that movie left is Sarah Connor.
No. Don't
start.
Well,
then the technology's already created, so Dyson's legacy is already set in stone.
Yeah, but there's no reason to send John Connor back. Why does he have to come back if there's nothing?
Okay, but can we talk about how Joe Morton now has twice accidentally created some sort of cybernetic being and died as a result of
That's why he's the father of Cyborg.
I feel like
William, I think you're the best, but Terminator 2 is one of the best action movies of all time.
It's like this.
You're right. You're right.
The
I get it.
logic is bullshit, though. The logic is bullshit.
I'll say
because
this.
when he dies,
William,
why does Reese come back if there's no reason for him to come back?
William, it's like this. You're basing your logic. You're basing your logic on the assumption that, Back to the Future is how time travel should be.
No, I'm basing the logic on what they gave me in the movie. I'm playing by the rules that they gave me in their own movie. That's what I mean. Their logic was bullshit. Because when Dyson, if you're stopping them from creating, right?
Anything that has to do with time travel, there's always a nitpick. You can even do that with Back to the Future. It's like as soon as Marty as soon as Marty pushed his dad away from the car and he got hit, Marty should have just vanished right away.
For real.
If you want to think
time moves like a wave, like a river. So it doesn't happen instantaneously.
It's like a river.
But you're talking about not just time travel. You're talking about a time paradox, a loop. One thing happens. He's sent back there for a reason. You just eliminated the reason, but yet they're all riding on their scooters on the way out.
There's always that logic that timeline still exists. I think even
just use
which is why
I was about to say that use the Endgame logic where it creates a branch timeline.
This is why
Endgame is the worst.
This is why, Aaron. Look, here's the thing.
That is the
This
worst.
is why Endgame.
It's different time travel theories. It's fine.
Here's the thing. Endgame had so much potential when they said what they said for the whole movie.
The same way.
All that setup in Endgame about the alternate universe, alternate timelines, and so on. But then they completely botched that up by having old man Steve show up at the very end.
Well, and the fact that as soon as they went back in time and took those stones from their
I really don't care.
You know who I'm curious to see come back? Neo and Trinity.
Yeah.
What he said.
Hey, that Matrix movie that's coming out.
Awesome. This whole thing.
But what I was going to say before I was unjustly interrupted is that, Dave, of all the sequels after 1 and 2, the only one that makes any sense to exist movie-wise in the first place is Salvation, because Salvation is almost kind of sort of a prequel to set up everything, to fill in the blanks.
Didn't James Cameron definitive ending though have them in a perfect future with John Connor and Sarah Connor all A-okay? I could be wrong about that, but I don't know.
They're in the perfect future. Is John Connor even alive if they've eliminated the threat?
Time travel, Terminator franchise, it was never meant to make sense.
I mean,
that's the way I articulate it.
Well, see, I think Terminator
gets to the endings of the characters he creates in his franchises. I mean, Aliens, Ripley, and the family. He said himself is it's too bad I created this family for them all to get killed off in the next movie.
Well, and we'll never see the ending of the Avatar characters either, though, because he takes 30 years in between Avatar movies. So.
Yeah,
making a million Avatar movies at once. Good grief!
Hey, but this Matrix movie, I saw John Wick stopping bullets.
Stop it. Come on.
I don't know. Look, I just got a kick out of the fact that he's being prescribed blue pills by
with all the symbology in that. You mean you had the therapist with the blue glasses? There's blue throughout the freaking office.
Well, and there's also red throughout too.
Yes,
and it was so perfect that amid the pills, you hear White Rabbit playing, Like
Yeah.
one pill
Yeah.
makes you
Yeah,
larger,
yeah.
one pill makes you small.
That trailer was
Justin
edited
Parsha,
through
yeah.
that song. It felt like.
Oh, yeah.
that was so great.
100%. They're like, we have to do that. We're gonna put a little bit of Matrix music in there with it, and it was.
Yeah.
But see,
Like,
they've referenced so much of this meta stuff.
Yeah.
I want them to actually lean into that though. Like
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
want it to just be like one or two things in the movie. I want this to be full on like,
Oh
hey,
yeah.
you know,
Slap
you're
action
watching the
hero.
events of
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
I
Is
think
John
they-
Palpatine going to be in every movie?
What's that?
The guy playing Morpheus, I know he's on the rise, but he's been in
Yeah.
a lot of movies.
He's a
saw
great
him in
actor.
Man.
Yeah,
He's a
Bill
great
Mazzini
actor,
second.
but
Oh yeah, so awesome.
Black
He's gonna be in
Manta,
every movie.
give me Morpheus. How about that?
Dr.
He's gonna be
Manhattan.
Black Manta. He's Black Manta and Aquaman too. I mean,
Yeah.
He was in Candyman. Yeah.
Yeah,
he might
that's
be in
true.
Spider-Man, huh? Jeez. Yeah,
Yeah,
Candyman is great.
Yeah, he's.
Candyman was
Honestly,
fantastic. I like Candyman.
I haven't
See, now
I'll look
that's
at it.
good casting. That's see how you were just talking about Dave about how like they never cast right in the Terminator movies.
Oh yeah.
He actually looks like a young
Yes.
Morpheus.
And
Like
he
Yeah.
sounds like him.
exactly.
I buy it.
He
And I
looks-
guess there's a reason why he's younger. It's part of
Yeah.
the story that why
Yes.
he's that.
Yeah.
Well, you see that. You see his scene where like he's in the bathroom and like he's kind of looking at that mirror and he's just
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck's happening?" So we're gonna get a Morpheus origin story.
I think we're
Oh,
gonna,
yeah.
I think Lawrence Fishburne. I don't think he's like in the whole movie, but I think there is.
Yeah.
We see him at some point.
He's going to make a cameo. Absolutely.
He's gonna look in the mirror and like see the other version of himself.
I think if
or
there's archive
something.
footage of the first film and this film, then there's good chance we could see a lot of things.
Oh,
Yeah, even though he said like they didn't ask me, like bullshit.
Well, neither did they didn't ask Andrew
Yeah.
Garfield to be in No Way Home either. So
Sure they
Exactly.
didn't.
Lawrence Fishburne goes, "I'm not the werewolf. I swear, I'm not the werewolf." Like, what?
Stop asking
Which is
Andrew
why-
Garfield if
here's
he's in
the thing.
movie.
Here's the thing. Andrew Garfield, like in his latest denials, I couldn't help but think that his exact wording of his denials were focusing on that deep fake vid of him that may or may not be like his appearance in No Way
To
Home.
me, I didn't think it was real, but I think it's real.
I think
Yeah.
it's real.
He can't say
Like,
anything.
somebody
either
cleared
way,
it up.
so-
Somebody
Whether-
cleared it up, and you can like look, and like when he's talking, you can see his stomach kind of move.
Oh,
you can see his
so
throat
now,
move.
so now you believe it's real, Dave? Because
Yeah, no.
remember,
At first, when the blurry version came out, I wasn't sure, and I was like, "Man, I think it might be a deep fake. He looks a little too
Yeah.
still." But then all of a sudden, there was like on I think Thursday or Friday, there was like a super clear version that came out, and people were
Yeah.
literally zoomed in. You
All
see
right.
like the neck move, you see like his stomach.
Well, there you
his torso
go.
kind of move. Yeah,
If
Because,
that's a deep
because,
fake,
like-
if that's fake, they need
That's
to
a
hire
really
that
good
guy.
deepfake.
exactly.
Yeah,
Because I mean, that doesn't even look like Tarkin in Rogue One or anything. Like that
Yeah.
is the most insane.
because I've been looking at like the bonus features and stuff for like Mandalorian season 2, and they were talking about how they were considering doing deep fake for like Mark Hamill so that he'll look young, but then they kind of realized no, it's just better to do something a bit more like complicated right now because deep fake isn't quite at that point yet, but it is getting close.
Well, they did do deepfake for Luke. That was deepfake in the end of the episode, but it was just
Yep.
on a younger actor.
Yep.
Kind
But
of.
you could look at it and you're like, yeah, that's Luke Skywalker. But your eyes were so good at noticing like real people.
Yeah.
I looked at Luke and I was like, that's not actually. Yeah, I mean, that's
Right.
Yeah,
they
it's
should have just
not-
gotten Sebastian Stan or something. In my opinion, that would have
I
worked.
think
Yes.
they
Yeah.
also hired someone who did like a really good deepfake after the fact.
Yeah,
they released the
it's
episode.
Yeah, and
Shamuk
it
on
looked
YouTube.
better.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
hmm
the
and he
fan
did it better
made
than
better.
Disney.
It's amazing how that was. I mean, it's the same thing even with the fucking mustache in Justice League. Like you saw
Yeah.
people that actually cleared that up even better. It's like,
Better.
how the fuck does that happen? Like how is that
Exactly.
the case?
You
Yeah.
should hire these people.
When you don't care, it's easy.
Yeah.
They just didn't care.
No, but
Yeah.
yeah, but when it comes to the Matrix trailer, yeah, like I said, there's definitely going to be a lot of meta stuff in there. Like even on ACS when Philip and I were on there, we were going through it, and you guys didn't even realize that there was like the projected behind like certain scenes, like when Neo's looking in the mirror, you see like him in the background from the first Matrix, and then when something else has happened, like SWAT guys, whatever, you see like a shot
Footage
of him
from
in
the
the
film.
background where like he's in the first Matrix where he's about to be unplugged.
Yep.
So there's something that's happening there where the Matrix actually exists in the movie. That's why the guy at the end, when he goes like, yeah, go back to where it started, go back to the Matrix. I'm like, that's his agent. Like, not, that's his agent. Like, he's a movie star. I don't know if he's Keanu Reeves, but it's something interesting.
If they
like
do that, if they go that far and actually have him, that's why he has the beard like John Wick and everything. They didn't make him shave. I will love this movie so much.
See,
Like,
that's the thing.
I would
We
not
know-
be
my God.
surprised if they expanded on the fact that now Thomas Anderson is now a well-earned software industrialist, and that's why he's got much more fancier digs, and that's why things are a lot more like at least they look a lot more pristine in the Matrix now.
I didn't even think
I don't
about that too, Phil. I was, the fact when you
I
see him
just
in the
watched the
bathtub-
first film last night, so it's really fresh in my mind.
Yeah.
And
Well,
by
I
the
mean,
way,
like,
Dave-
look at when he's in the bathtub. I mean, that's a sky rise like apartment. that he's
Yeah.
living in, like a penthouse. So he's got money in this.
this isn't like in the first movie when he's living in his small apartment with his crappy computer and like
Exactly.
this is so different.
Yeah, and he
Watching that tonight.
lady carry out her garbage.
Yeah.
And by the way, Dave, you were wondering what the name Thomas was all about. Thomas, ever since the first movie, Thomas was Mr. Anderson's first name.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. You were wondering what the name Thomas was all about. I mean,
When did I say that?
yeah, you did. You were wondering. And then, like, the comment section was filled with, Dave, Thomas is Anderson's first name.
You're talking about
Well,
last
no,
night.
okay, so people must have misunderstood it. I've watched this movie 1,000 times. I'm like, yeah, I'm like Thomas. So then because I was kind of wondering, I'm like, is he Thomas? Is he Keanu? Is he somebody else? Kind of thing. That's why I questioned it. When he said Thomas, I was like, okay. So
Paul Thomas Anderson is what he.
Oh God,
No.
Paul Thomas Anderson, of course.
No.
Plot twist.
He's a little too overrated.
Which, by the way,
W.S. Anderson. I don't know.
speaking of Mr.
W.S.,
Anderson, like, I just want look if Hugo Weaving, I get it. He doesn't want to be in have big roles for in more than one movie, but just have him do a cameo. Come on, just once. I want Mr. Smith.
Hugo Weaving. Yeah, I know that was kind of a letdown when we heard he wasn't in there. But then again, who knows?
He might be in it.
Yeah, he might be in there.
I mean, Lawrence Fishburne's talking like he's not in the movie, but seriously,
it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, to me, it just sounds like Thomas is going to be this. It's like the real world, I don't know, and he's. I mean, I think Stephen Colbert said it best. Is like they basically said, "Hey, Lana, we want another Matrix movie. We want a Matrix 4," and she was like, "You just gave me the idea for it right now." They want another Matrix movie, and then that's pretty much like the plot, the starting.
So it's
going
to be a Matrix movie about the making of a. Matrix.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
They pull what's that movie that Michael Keaton was in? Hawkman.
Oh, Birdman.
Birdman. They pull a Birdman with it, where the movie's like a meta commentary on Michael Keaton.
Or, but then it's just another layer of the Matrix. I mean, when you watch that trilogy, I mean, it was never fully explained how. I mean, I guess the Oracle kind of did. She does say
very poorly.
She says the power of the one goes beyond this world, so it's that's why he was able. And then we see that at the end of Reloaded, where he's like, I could feel them, and then he does the whole thing and just stops all the robot, and then passes out. And when he passes out, he goes back into the Matrix, kind of, but he's not plugged in. And it's going to be interesting to see, because I think we even talked about it last night too, is when they go through the mirrors that are essentially portals now. Right. It's now they don't need hard lines, because guess what? We don't fucking have hard lines. So I think everything is that's what I was always curious about when I thought, if they did a Matrix movie now, I mean, yeah, it was very ahead of its time, but they were still using the old technology of hardline phone lines and whatever. Now that we have Wi-Fi and all this shit, I mean, and it shows that in the trailer, when he's on the elevator and everybody's looking at their phones and everything. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, obviously that's a commentary of where we're at right now in society. But I really believe that the mirrors are now going to be some kind of portals.
The first Matrix was literally in the dial-up era. Literally, using dial-up.
It was right on the cusp of that. Which is,
I got cable modem in '99, but everybody else in the block still had.
Maybe the machines. People were talking. I heard somebody mention that they thought that the machines might be using. So many people found out about what the Matrix was. And the lie was breaking down. So what if they use the they're like, oh, that was a movie. Like none of that really happened. Like Keanu believes that the Matrix was a film and not things that actually happened to him. Essentially.
I like
and
that.
so that's why the guy's like, you're going back to the Matrix. You're talking about this again. It was just a movie. And Keanu's like, no, like, or Thomas is like, no, this was more than a movie. This happened.
I like that. I like that theory.
Like,
you have any theories, Doug? What would you think of the trailer? You've been kind of quiet. Sorry.
No, I just I was, I love Matrix 1, Matrix 2, Matrix 3. I like Matrix 3, but it was kind of a downer because it was all in the real world. I was fired up for 4, and I didn't think I would be. It was, I love the possibilities of Keanu, Meta. Like it's like, who knows what's going to be, and I think it's we'll see what happens. But I'm fired up.
To get excited for me.
What was that?
Didn't move me. I need another trailer and more premise, but I'll most likely go see it when it comes out. But the trailer didn't move the needle for me one way or another.
It did for me.
No, I thought there was like it was almost like a perfect trailer because it didn't tell you too much. It played well with the song. The song choice was good. And
the song. You're right. The song
choice. I thought it was just like, and then it's like you had some nostalgia, and then you had some new shit, and you're just like, and then I mean, when I went down the rabbit hole, pardon the pun, of watching trailer reactions, everybody was just going, I have so many questions, but they were all like, oh, that was great, but I have so many questions. I'm like, okay, that trailer achieved exactly what it needed to achieve, and I'm like, big chef kiss to it.
Whoever cut that trailer needs to cut trailers for movies that spoil the entire thing in the trailer, because that got me so excited, and now I have more questions than I did before I watched it. Yeah. And we're talking about it. That's the good thing. Like, you want your trailer to like start a conversation.
Exactly. And it definitely did. I mean, I've been talking about it all week. And I've watched it so many times, and it's just, and I like that theory though that you said too, though, is like the fact that, the machines are trying to distract, like, oh yeah, everything that happened, that was just a movie. Hey, you were in a movie, Thomas, you weren't doing anything. But he's like, wait a minute though, why am I?
Maybe that's why he has the nice house, because he's a famous actor.
Well, I even brought that up last night because what did Cypher want to be when he wanted to get put back into the Matrix?
Right.
He was like, I want to be somebody important, like an actor.
He also wanted to forget that he was outside the Matrix too. Remember?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's just there's so many. Yeah. It's gonna be fucking. It's a mind fuck for sure. Jesus Christ.
When is that supposed to come out? Like beginning of next year?
No, Christmas.
Christmas. Oh shit! Oh my god.
Yeah. Wow. I know we don't have to wait.
Real Max.
What's so funny about that? What's so funny about that? Okay, we only just now get a trailer for Matrix, and it's scheduled to come out this Christmas. Now it is. But how long ago did we first get that trailer for Top Gun Maverick? And it's still
been
postponed.
Delayed like 6 times.
Yeah. That's not their fault, though. I mean,
that's not exactly. Their fault.
They can't release that movie in a depressed market because they'll lose too much money.
Yeah.
So everybody, and like I was asking last night on your stream, Dave, is I was worried that everybody's going to use the Shang-Chi success and say, well, the theaters are back. I'm like, nah, every movie has different circumstances and different. You just
right.
I think Shang-Chi just it just came out in the right moment of like, hey, somebody, it's something fresh from Marvel, which was good. It's Marvel. It wasn't Black Widow, where some people were. I mean, I didn't really.
It was a detached movie.
Yeah.
So.
Well, Black Widow had like 4 million trailers, and by the time the trailers were out, I was like, okay, well, I've pretty much figured out exactly what this movie is. Like, okay.
But when it came to Shang-Chi, it was like, all right, this looks like something different, and it was. I really enjoyed it. I was like, thank you. This is something different. And
how are they releasing Matrix before Top Gun Maverick again?
Because it's WB.
Yeah.
Well, because Paramount. Well, no.
Paramount.
Here's the difference. The amount of money that it took to make Top Gun is insurmountable. And as far as how that movie's leveraged, you cannot release that movie in a depressed market. You have to make it's like James Bond. James Bond is screwed.
Yep. That's the exact one I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
You can release Matrix this early.
Both James Bond and Top Gun are movies that I don't want to see at my house. Like, I want to watch Top Gun sitting in a theater, maybe an IMAX theater, with the screen around me. I feel like I'm in the cockpit. Like, I'm not going to lay on my couch and watch Top Gun. Like,
but you want to see but you're content to see Matrix on the couch?
Here's the thing about Matrix you got to understand, though. A lot of people are like kind of wishy-washy about 2 and 3. So I also don't I could see why they'd be like, yeah, let's also put it on the service day and date. It's the last movie also on the day and date release too. So I feel like the new Matrix movie is kind of in a similar boat like Dune, where you have these really great filmmakers who have this really expansive IP, but the question is the audience there?
You know,
Dune's gonna bomb. Dune's gonna bomb.
I don't know about that.
Not because it's a bad movie. It has nothing to do with the merits of the movie. It's gonna be a great movie because that director doesn't do anything but great movies, in my opinion. But it is a complex, higher end IP that you're depending on a lot to grab the type of audience to pull in what they made. It's gonna win Oscars. It's gonna put Denis Villeneuve back. I mean, even higher than Blade Runner 2029. It's gonna be great, but is the average person gonna be like? With Lord of the Rings, it was different. That was a generational thing that a lot of grandparents put their kids into. But Dune really hasn't never been a really successful IP to begin with.
No.
The name brand, but like I said, it's gonna bomb, but it's not gonna be because the movie sucked.
I agree with you, William, but my hope is because of the HBO Max day and date release, he already got his sequel.
Well, and here's the thing about that. Here's the way those guys, the directors, are like, "Oh, you're ruining my cinematic experience." This is the thing, because it's on HBO Max. The family of four, the father that may not take his kids and spend $110 on popcorn, tickets, and everything else, he would have never seen this movie. But on HBO Max, he'll see it. So when I make my sequel, maybe now that I've seen it on HBO Max,
make a miniseries.
Just release it a month after. Just release it on HBO Max a month after theatrical release. Then
that'll be next year, though. They'll do that
45-day window. Yeah.
45. We were talking about Doug. You were talking about the sequel. You know, that video that like pissed everybody off, where Timothy Chalamet, I think, was on the red carpet, and he was like. Oh man, what's the guy's name? That's the WB exec.
Toby Emmerich.
Toby Emmerich was like,
and Anne was there too.
Yeah, we've got it on camera. You get a sequel. We've got it on camera.
They're acting very chummy with him and very like excited about everything. So I was like,
and everybody watched that and they were like, oh great, they've greenlit this sequel before it even comes out. But Zach has this entire thing planned out, and they were like,
right,
it's okay.
Those guys, they're ghosts. You basically saw on that red carpet. You saw two ghosts.
Oh yeah, they're gone after.
They're gone. So
and again, so we're getting a Black Canary spinoff. We're quite possibly getting a Huntress spinoff.
No, you're not. You got one announced. You are not seeing any of this bullshit. This bullshit is not happening. Okay,
Jesus Christ, how is it not happening?
No, listen.
Black Canary is not happening.
I don't know, because here's the thing: by the time any of these things go into production, this management is not going to be in place. They have their own plans. You don't think
that would be bad if that didn't happen? I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I think they did that on purpose. It's like that thing that they're going out, so they're just going to start greenlighting stuff. But then if the other people cancel it, that's going to look really bad on them.
But especially if I'm moving into a house and you're moving out, I don't want you to leave the house with a bunch of junk in it.
William, didn't you say whether it was last stream or the stream before? Didn't you say that there's a good chance that Zaslav and crew have already come into power? That's why it took.
They're making certain decisions, but see, this stuff has been greenlit.
That's right. Sue somebody.
Same.
Yeah.
You can't do that to me. The reason canceled Misha Green's second season of Lovecraft Country after it's been nominated for Emmys, and then you're not going to cancel a movie that you've already announced is going to happen with her.
No,
that just makes you look bad as a company.
When it comes to Black Canary, this is how this got greenlit. This is how it got greenlit, because even though Birds of Prey didn't do well at the box office, we know that. But apparently, when it came to HBO Max during 2020, it was one of the most streamed movies of 2020 on HBO Max. Right. And then a lot of people have expressed that they want a Black Canary series,
something
like
yeah.
that. They want something. They like Journey Smollett, and I think that's why it was like, all right, we should do something with this.
I would take any of their announcements with a grain of salt, simply because the people who made them aren't going to be there.
I think you're wrong about this one. I think you're
wrong. Especially like when Zach himself said that of all like the characters that were introduced in these like DCU films, that he would be really interested in bringing in Journey Smollett's like Black Canary to
that would be cool.
Has Zach said that? I remember Ben Affleck saying, "No, not about Journey Smollett, but Black Canary." But
yeah, I heard the Black Canary. Like I said, until I actually see cameras rolling and people standing in front of them, as many things that they've canceled and pulled out from under the rug, I don't believe.
I think when it comes to Black Canary, I think it's gonna happen.
Well, I mean,
it would be really foolish of them to cancel that project, especially after what they did in New Gods, and especially after everything that's happened last year. And that's all I'll say on that.
I don't know if the new crew is gonna have. I mean,
here's the thing, though. If it's already if it's already in production, it's going to be like the Flash. It's going to happen whether or not the new crew comes in and does anything.
The Flash
that
is rolling.
again,
It's just been announced.
Yeah. Right.
Well, the thing is, if they
makes the new management look bad to say, "Hey, we're not going to move forward with this," with a movie directed by a black director with a black female lead.
There's the optics of it.
When when Warner Brothers already has that image.
Bad optics.
Well, do you think the new people coming in
worse than what they're replacing?
Are the new people going to come in and like already know exactly what they want to make, or why not just go ahead and make these ones that were already announced? It's not like they're coming in with this big like Feige level plan going, okay, we're going to have this huge extended universe and this movie and this movie and this movie.
Yeah,
why not make a Black Canary movie?
Well, here's the thing though, and they say that they do it, but they're going to do it on their own pace and their own time. When you're doing a transition, you're literally coming into the company with the vision you were thinking of when you bought the company. You know, so they're going to want to pace themselves and make their own plans and do their own thing. I mean, any merger I've ever seen, you don't really deal that much with people's leftovers. They may revisit some of these things, but they're why would you take over?
Again, looking at the numbers,
the demand for it there though. That's
which is why.
By the way, Lovecraft Company wasn't necessarily canceled. Yeah. They didn't really have a story for number 2, even though she says.
I mean, they pissed off Misha Green by not renewing it, though.
According to HBO Max, there was never a plan.
Although I will say, like, based on what you said, like about how like the new guys coming in will already have their plan. I mean, David Zaslav himself, like when he was talking about like all the opportunities that having control of Warner Brothers like offers him, like he pointed to Batman and Superman. So if anything, like when Zaslav and his crew and the Discovery crew come in, I would like to think that increases the possibility of us finally getting a new standalone Man of Steel sequel along with the Batfleck movie, but I don't know.
Here's the thing. I mean, that's what leads me to think the way I'm thinking is because I see a new crew with a new slate wanting to establish or reestablish the Trinity and go from there and deal with some of this other stuff that may not have the momentum. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just until I see it in front of a camera and people in costume, I just don't believe it. And I can't. I mean, not with Warner Brothers proper. And until I see, you know.
But again, like what I said, I mean, I think they looked at the fact that Birds of Prey was popular on HBO Max, and Black Canary was popular. They're looking at every little nook and cranny when it comes to analytics, everything. It's not just one thing. I mean, they're looking at even the pirated shit. I mean, they're looking at those.
They've always had. Game of Thrones is the most pirated show in history, and it got season after season.
Plus, Birds of Prey.
I've learned to feel like announcements with a grain of salt. That's all.
I feel like it would be extremely counterproductive for David Zaslav to say something like, "We want to bring our talent back," and then immediately cut talent out like that.
Yeah.
And also, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it'll be cut out. I think he'll come in with his own plan, and they may fit into it, but. Yeah, it's going to be a new sheriff. It's going to be a new boss.
And also, I'm pretty sure they're also looking at the trend events because they saw what the trend events did to help push Warner Brothers to finally say screw it and announce and agree to release the Snyder cut. But I'm pretty sure they were one of the big things that pushed for Black Canary to happen. Like there were trend events for Jury Smollett's Black Canary to continue. So that happened, and now there's pushes for Huntress. So
all I'll say is I felt bad that day that they announced that Discovery was buying buying WB, because that poor intern that had to get all the tags on the Discovery account.
Oh man,
he's probably never had any interaction on that account ever. Because who tags Discovery on Twitter? And then all of a sudden he woke up and had like 400,000 mentions. Like it's like, oh my god!
Release the haircut. Release the
HBO Max is international the moment that takes
movie.
HBO right now, HBO Max is not in every market, but Discovery Warner, when they merge, they're going to be in way more markets than they are now, which is great.
Like no normal human being was like talking about David Zaslav before like that announcement happened, and then now every single person knows, hey, David Zaslav, the guy that's buying Warner Brothers, and he's in charge, and like, people are like tagging everybody in it, and I think they'll see the demand, but it's a matter of like, will they
whether or
listen
not
to
they
the
follow
demand?
through with it.
And
Right.
That's WB's problem.
Right.
And going back to our earlier bit of conversation about person being the upfront face, like a couple of the interviews I've watched with Zaslav, he seems to have a bit of a presence. He seems to have a bit of a way of how he presents himself. But so I mean, if after the merger completely happens, the next time there's a Hall H panel for Warner Brothers at Comic-Con, what if Zaslav wants to lead that? He probably could.
I'll trust these guys a lot more if they would actually do something other than talk to like Variety and just I see text.
Talk to us.
Like let me see a video of you talking about your plans and your excitement for the upcoming. Feige, like somebody like Feige, like and going back to that is like he comes out in a video and he's like, here's what we're doing. This is the plan. Like, whereas with WB and now, hopefully Discovery does different, but like I just feel like I'm getting information from like a soulless like corporate room or something.
If Zaslav is telling me all these things are happening, then I'm like, oh, get my t-shirt ready. But the fact that it's in this transition period, regardless to what the trends are and what people like, people love Zack Snyder's Justice League, and we're clawing for more of that. So they don't always respond to things the way they should. Now, these new guys. Now, when the news guys come in, and I see a press conference with Zaslav, and he starts talking about Black Canary, he starts talking about Blue Beetle. Now, to me, that's gospel. But this transition period, I don't trust this at all. Sorry, I'll be the one guy. I don't trust it.
When it comes, I know somebody even asked, like, didn't they announce a Blue Beetle movie? Yeah, but the thing is that what's different about that, they have. Well, I mean, obviously with Black Canary, they already had their star, but they did announce their star, and then they did announce their director. So I'm kind of like going, like, man, again,
new guys,
bad optics.
By the way.
New Gods didn't have any talent attached to it outside of Ava DuVernay. They had a director, but no actor or actress for that matter.
Really good director. But
by the way, talking about Blue Beetle, I mean,
I got to go, guys. Dave, I want to be wrong. I want you all to be right. I want to be
no. Yeah, I get that.
I really want to be wrong.
This is what's great about
I love your energy, William. Just know that.
Oh yeah.
There's no.
I want to have a good feeling about the future, but I'm like a dog.
I get it. I totally get it. Yeah.
So,
all right, man. Take it easy. All right.
All right. Thanks for having me on, and you guys can hammer.
Bye.
Yeah. By the way, I'll say this about Blue Beetle. I mean, like, whenever Blue Beetle comes up and people are talking about like which Blue Beetle is going to be the star of the movie, I just can't help looking back to when the Snyderverse was still dominant, when Snyder was still dominant, and there was all this bonus stuff, all this setup stuff.
Infographic. I know the infographic you're talking about.
Yeah, the infographic. It mentions Ted Cord.
Yeah.
So
doesn't mean that doesn't exist in here. I mean, they started Ant-Man with Scott Lang.
Right.
Yeah. So
Hank Pym was old.
That's good, because like if they're going to do a Blue Beetle film, I mean, they better have Ted Cord.
I'm sure they will. The way I looked at it, I was like, it's going to be like how Ant-Man is. It's like when Ant-Man got announced, everybody was like, oh, Hank Pym. No, it's going to be Scott Lang. And it's like, what? But then they established, Hank Pym.
Which what's funny about that too is that the CW DC shows have been teasing Ted Cord for years, like almost since like Arrow season 1, and never actually got the character.
By the way, which is ironic.
Not even in a suit and tie.
Yeah, which is ironic because Ted Cord is already the second Blue Beetle. because
he's not,
you know how
that's true.
You know how like Watchmen, of course, like Alan Moore, basically like the original idea was he was going to do the Charlton Comics characters and basically bring them into the DC, but like his story was so like
wicked dark,
close-ended, and also had like a closing end, so they're like, you can't just bring in the Charlton Comics with this way. So we made these new characters. So we based the Watchmen characters off of the Charlton Comics characters, but the Night Owls, the two Night Owls were supposed to be based off of the two Charlton Comics Blue Beetles, where Ted Cord was Dan, the younger one.
That's correct.
So who's the previous Blue Beetle other than Ted Cord?
First Blue Beetle. Oh man,
I can't remember. I always knew that Jaime was like the third, right? He was always
he was.
Really, I can't
remember the name of the first guy.
I forget the name of the second one, but it was again where Ted Cord.
Dan Garrett.
Yeah, Garrett. Yeah, Ted Cord had the gadgets. He had the ship, much like the younger Night Owl had the ship and all the gadgets.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be interesting. But the thing is like, I mean, the fact that you have already your director, and then they cast like a young up and coming actor, who's very popular on Cobra Kai, and it's like
and fits the bill almost perfectly.
Times.
So I'm like,
never dies.
I mean, I get, and William's always like that. He's always looking at the worst case scenario, and I get that. We all do that from time to time, but it would just look really bad if they just were like,
which is
hey,
funny,
we're gonna not do that. It's like
they're already facing enough of the criticism of saying, oh, these should be people who are saying they should be theatrical release.
I hate that narrative so much.
I agree with you, but they've already got that going for them. To abandon the project entirely would make them look even worse. So,
by the way, Dave, like it's funny that like we bring up like Will, and it's unfortunate that he's gone, but again, like you say like as a rule, like he goes for the more cynical perspective. But as I recall, Will was the one that brought up the idea that, hey, why do we think that that David Zaslav and crew are not already in power, essentially, because of the whole thing where when Hollywood Reporter and Variety, when they report these things tend to have already happened.
True. I mean, like, I know going into this whole thing, it's like it's not like they're not looking at things right now, not looking at all the numbers, and that's why when people were always questioning, like, well, okay, Black Canary, that's interesting. I'm like, well,
which is
like I said.
And all that, which is why I find it so hard to believe, Dave, that that it's going to really take as long as you said to like green light Justice League 2 and get it started in production. Because if they're essentially already in power.
Here's the thing: how do we know that these decisions weren't made by a Zaslav or like Discovery team? Because these are just now coming out. I mean, WB didn't talk about a Blue Beetle movie or a Black Canary movie for years, even after Birds of Prey. You would think that they would have announced, or Batgirl. You would think that they would have announced this Black Canary movie right after Birds of Prey, to follow on the hype level. But maybe these are Zaslav decisions. Maybe this is a Discovery thing that's happening now.
So on that note, I would say it's only a matter of time at some point next year where Zaslav and crew start announcing and formally greenlighting Justice League 2. I mean, I find it so hard to believe that it would take that long for that to start production. I mean, and I get it that Zach already has his productions in mind, but release it in series format.
They're in such a weird position with Justice League 2, though. That's the problem. Is I don't think they know what to do, because if they do their own thing and they don't continue Zach's story, they're screwed on one side. And then if they go the other way, you're going to have all these people being like, where you're just, you're paying off the toxic kind of groups and stuff. And it's like, you can't win in that situation. Now, would I like them to continue Zach's? Of course. That's the one I want to see. But they're in this rut where they're like, well, what movie do we make?
I mean, Chris Long Swenson was talking on his show about there are all these rumblings about a Legion of Doom movie happening. But again, just building on with how Aquaman 2 and Wonder Woman 3 and Flash are all kind of taking elements from the old storyboard synopsis of the old Vision. And honestly, look, I've been thinking about this for a while, because really what that does is that frees up Zack so that because Zack has recently been talking about how his current Justice League 2 is going to be a lot more nightmare centric than the old idea for Justice League 2 was. And the best way to do that is to free him up by having all of that set up in other movies.
Well, I always what I was telling people too is like, you know, when people were like some of the more diehard fans were getting upset, they're like, oh, they're taking his idea. I'm like, that was on the storyboard that he wasn't going to use.
Yeah, Zack gave those. I'll tell you right now, it isn't. They're not stealing from Zack. Zack gave them those elements so that he could focus on the more nightmare stuff in his current Justice League.
I don't think it's as clean a handoff as you're making it there, but I think they saw the ideas and said, hey, maybe I could use that.
Yeah. Well,
at the end of the day, they still own the DC IP, so
they do.
Yeah.
True.
A good idea is a good idea, even if it didn't come from that person.
Well, and I don't think Zack did he ever specify whether all of that stuff was supposed to be in a Justice League movie? Like, I thought some of that was supposed to be like in like maybe some other spin-off stuff.
I mean, even the way after Zack Snyder's Justice League ends, I don't know how you jump from that to a full-blown nightmare film.
Right.
You'd have to imagine there'd have to be some kind of setup there.
Well, like Aquaman takes place after Zack's movie.
Right.
He knew that was happening.
Right.
And he knew that like some of these other things were happening. I think that a lot of that was supposed to be stuff to fill in the gaps so that when he got to the nightmare stuff, he could just get right into it. Like, he wouldn't have to worry about all this like world building outside of what he wanted to tell.
I'm sure like most people looked at the old synopsis and assumed that that is Justice League 2. But like, so you look at that, it's like, well, that's a lot of world building for one movie.
Justice League 2 and 3 are on its own whiteboard that he has not shown us.
I don't think like Lex is breaking Orm out of the desert prison and going to Dr. Morrow in Justice League 2.
No.
Exactly.
I think that's a different movie.
That was a while ago when I guess Johns was still cool.
Yeah.
He wrote all that, and then Jim Lee was sketching it, and they were all just kind of brainstorming ideas. And what could it be? And
we don't even know if that was supposed to happen like on camera even. That could have been like a BVS situation with Robin where it's implied, like maybe Lex mentions that he broke out Orm.
Yeah,
I mean, were they making that outline before David Ayer was making his Suicide Squad movie? I mean,
I think so. I think that was like 2014 or something.
Yeah.
So they were just trying to create the spine of the universe and where the whole universe is going to go.
Like basically,
whether that happened with Zack's movies or not was kind of a question mark. Like he could have done it, but they said, "Oh, these can be done in the solo movies too." To set it up so that when there is a Justice League,
exactly. It was never like this is what it's. I mean, they outlined it like that, and they had all these ideas, but it was never like set in stone. Like this is what it's gonna be. It's like this is what we're like doing right. That's what you do when you're fucking world building. You're doing. I
look at the storyboards as like the spine of like everything that's supposed to happen. So you've got like these are events. So if you ever get to your solo movie and a director's making it, oh, okay, this is what happens in the universe at this time. So I know that like that's going on. Orm's supposed to be in a desert prison, so I'm not going to put him like underwater in his castle or something. Like it was just an outline kind of to follow.
And like what Stephanie said, it's not a huge stretch that Orm is in a desert prison. It's like, that
makes a lot of sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
And we do know that Juan did like talk with Zack in order to how to hammer out his movie.
They had multiple conversations.
He showed him his movie, and Zack gave him his blessing on Aquaman. That movie directly ties.
When Warner Brothers didn't want Juan talking to Zack.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's pretty much a given, like with what we know about Aquaman 2, that Juan is, I'm pretty sure, based on that one, Zack, because the whole thing with the whole. He's in prison. He's in the desert right now, and he's been in prison with a shaggy beard and all that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's also interesting to note that Juan is most likely done after this film too. He does not want to come back for an Aquaman 3.
I got a weird thing about threes.
He does.
He avoided doing the third movies, period. So like he didn't want to direct Conjuring 3.
And I cannot help but respect Juan for that because look. I think like, and Will was talking about how like the old Hollywood guard, And like one trope that people have grounded into their heads is the trilogy. It has to be a trilogy. There has to be a third movie. There has to be a third movie. And Juan's like, look, if my vision is concluded in the second movie, I don't need a third movie. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I would rather there just be two, and it's the story he wants to tell, rather than him try and like force a third movie.
Yeah, then you wind up like Nolan with The Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, where it's just like, I guess this is happening. Like,
I saw your shirt, so
I don't know if Aquaman 2 makes $1 billion too. James Wan will be bought back.
Oh, you want to
brought back?
I could definitely
to be doing.
I think there's a reality in which James Wan would make Aquaman 3 his first third. I could see that happening.
But to what you were just saying a moment ago, Phil, like I do worry that like under the current management, Wan could easily say, "I'm making the second Aquaman movie, and then I'm out." Like,
see, that situation is so specific because you have James Wan who made them $1 billion movie, and then you have the studio who's like, "Well, shit, we don't really like who you work with, but your idea made us a bunch of money." So they kind of have to let him do what he wants. Otherwise, if they step in and do anything, they're going to look increasingly worse given everything that's already happened.
$1 billion.
At the same time,
$1 billion.
It's really unfortunate that they really have not done anything to promote his current movie, Malignant. Like, there's no, and like, why do you not promote your $1 billion movie maker who also you can owe your Conjuring franchise to him as well?
Yeah,
you know,
I didn't even know Malignant came out until I went on Netflix earlier today and was like, "Oh my god, that movie came out!" Like, I mean, not Netflix, HBO. My bad.
They should be promoting that way more than what they did. They have been.
Did any of you guys watch it? Phil, Doug, did you watch?
I have
Malignant?
not yet.
I haven't, but I'm not worried about if you talk about it.
I've seen a lot of mixed reactions.
I don't want to give you any spoilers because when that fucking twist happens, it's like,
I mean, I gotta kick.
I'm telling you, like, if you like just good old fashioned, I mean, Malignant,
bonkers.
You know, some people, bonkers. A lot of people are saying, it definitely is. But just watching it, it's like, I mean, it's an homage to 70s and 80s horror.
You know, I've heard like three or four people tell me about a twist in it, but I'm thinking, is it like a cabin in the woods kind of twist? Oh shit!
Did you like the twist, Dave? That's all that matters. Did you like the twist?
I like the twist. Well, the sad part about it is like I kind of got spoiled with it, like when they did test screenings and that information was coming out. So I kind of knew, but even though I kind of knew, I was like, all right, it is definitely going to probably be what I heard. But when it actually got revealed, you still go, oh my god! And then after everything that happens after that, you're like, James Wan is a fucking nutcase, and I love it. Like,
he's a mad genius.
All right,
seriously,
you got me on board. I'll watch it now.
I mean, when it's revealed, and then the events that happen after it, it's just like, I mean, you know, James Wan is, you know, he's got that style, like that cool, like panning style, and then one shot. He likes there's a one shot that happens in this movie, and I was just like smiling and laughing, going, "This motherfucker!" Like, I can't believe he's doing it.
Honestly, like one of my favorite moments, like as an aspiring filmmaker, one of my favorite moments in the first Aquaman was like that was part of the whole big action scene with a Black Manta versus Aquaman. And it's the rooftops, and it's that long take. What single take?
Williams.
Oh my god!
Current WB bosses running these now. I mean, they already are. So
they still have to operate like business as usual.
You know the problem with that, Eric, you were talking about that one shot in Aquaman. The only problem that sucked about that was they showed that entire sequence in a trailer.
Yeah, I know.
They literally put that whole freaking thing in the trailer, and so I was like waiting in it for it.
I mean, they showed that at Comic-Con in 2017.
So I hate when that happens because I'm sitting in the theater every time they do that, and I'm like, when's the part? Oh shit!
Oh shit!
Damn
it, man!
Seriously.
Wait, does that mean Malignant 2?
Toys now.
Does Malignant 2 start with like a slow-mo version of like his death?
It might.
Seriously.
The spear.
Right. Hold on. Why is Meg never on the Patreon streams? Because I'm sure she would help us out a lot.
Yeah, well, I don't know. She's not feeling good right now, so maybe one of these days. Well, she shows up on the vodka stream every now and again.
Well, we're talking about bonkers. That'd be great.
But No, but yeah, that one shot was, I mean, that's what I love about like Juan. Like he'll do very, and I tell you what, when it comes to Malignant, he's so doing an homage. I mean, he basically pulled out, I looked at it, he pulled out some Argento and some Raimi and just kind of combined it and then put his style with it. It's, I mean, I can't wait to watch it again, because at first I went, what's happening here? And then all of a sudden I'm just going, okay, with the music and everything, he's really leaning into, like, he's doing an homage almost right here. Like, this is to the point where, like, I think I made this joke earlier. I think Aaron, you made like a response to it, was the fact that when you see like her house, I mean, there's literally like, it's night and there's like a layer of fog. And it's like, does there really need to be a layer of fog in Seattle? In this house? Hold on. No.
Is the fog outside? Is the fog outside or is it in the house?
No, it's not in the house. But
no, that's what I thought you meant.
No, like, no, not inside the house. Sorry. I
was like, man, that is
going on about the fog. I was like, okay, what's so weird about the fog? Is it in the house? It's not in the house.
No. It was just,
he's like tripping over shit in her house because she can't see. There's like fog everywhere.
Sorry, I must have tweeted it out. Like, nah, it wasn't too specific. But no,
so you're telling me he does an homage to the movie The Fog?
No, but it's just funny because he's creating that ambiance. It's like, it's Seattle present day. I mean, does there need to be a layer of fog when you see the outside? No, but he's creating.
That's what I would do.
That yeah, exactly though. That's what's so great about it, is he leans into that campy, that 80s, 70s like horror element. And then
that's what I liked. We're talking about Raimi. That's what I loved about the Spider-Man films, is they would go from
that
like
Doc Ock scene is just
oh god. And like 2 scenes before that, you've got a couple scenes before that, you've got a funny scene, but then you immediately can switch into something terrifying like that. It just that's why I love Sam Raimi.
That Doc Ock scene is probably one. That's in like my top 10 favorite CBM scenes. My God, just the fact that he did so much without any music. It was all sound effects and screams. And I'm like,
nails on the floor.
Oh God, I mean, he pulled that from fucking Evil Dead. I mean, then you've seen that in Evil Dead. You've seen that. I mean, that's what was so. I mean, you watch that scene. It's just classic Raimi, and it's like you don't see stuff like that in CBMs. It was horrible.
That's why I'm hoping that they consulted Raimi at least a little bit with the whole No Way Home and bringing. I mean, they've got Raimi in the MCU like directing now. I really hope they asked him like, "Hey, if you were to bring back Doc Ock, how would you do it?" In the context of like, I know at the end of Spider-Man 2, he's not a villain anymore. We I guess like you could argue that maybe he was in the moment a good guy, but. I just hope they asked Raimi like how he would have continued things, because otherwise, if they just do it arbitrarily, it's gonna like.
Okay, you're bringing up a good point, because I mean it's a good point, because it's like, okay, if we're bringing in Raimi's villains, it's like, Doc Ock kind of realized, hey, I'm a really bad guy. I should really just kind of pull all this stuff down,
right?
And essentially, we don't know if he died or not. But then when it came to Goblin, he died,
definitively dead.
Yeah. So it's like, how are they coming back? So,
well, I think with Ock, they can explain like him coming back and being evil as the arms have taken over again. Like you've got an out with that. But if like if Sandman shows up and he's a villain in this, I'm gonna be really pissed because his arc was beautiful in Spider-Man 3.
The trailer looks like Sandman is fighting Electro.
Yeah, kind of does, huh?
A little bit.
He's protecting Spider-Man from
the. I like how they teased Electro and didn't outright show Electro.
They will in the next trailer.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
It's Sony. By the next trailer, we'll see every Spider-Man.
We'll see the ending.
We'll see the ending of the movie. They'll pull a BVS second trailer and just have like.
They're just going to show us like all the emblems of all 3 Spider-Man, but not actually.
I actually heard a hot take that Doc Ock isn't actually in it.
What?
I'm kidding. I'm just being serious.
Man, I was about to be like
coming in with like a scoop.
Yeah, no,
that'd be crazy if they they do that whole thing where it's like, oh no, we were just kidding about that, because there's even that shot of him, where he's in the Iron Spidey suit and the legs come out and it kind of zooms out and it's just the rest of like this bridge.
Somebody else is there.
And it's like, who else might be there? Because
I'm telling you what, though, I cannot wait for the scene. Yeah. I cannot wait for the scene where that stupid Iron Spider suit gets absolutely smashed to pieces by Doc Ock.
That's really gonna happen, huh?
God, please, please, I hate that suit. It's so ugly. Like it doesn't look good to me. It's too shiny and like weird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So do you feel that the new suit in Spider-Man 2 adding the extra legs is a little much? No,
completely different because the suit still looks like just a Spider-Man suit, and that Spider-Man, it's still a cloth suit. He just has a little tech in the eyes, whereas this Spider-Man's like
wings. He's got the wings.
Yeah, and then this Spider-Man's like it's all nanotech, and like he can just make the suit come out of nowhere, which takes away that element of like, oh shit, I've got to carry my mask around in my backpack and my suit. Yeah. You know, it just, I don't know. It takes all the drama out of like that. And he's been so fast and loose with his identity that I'm surprised that he's like upset that people know now. I mean, he literally walks around like he was literally in Venice, like swinging around with like a Mardi Gras mask on. And he was like, this wolf, nobody will know it's me.
It's not so much that so much as the fact that now they're all like smearing him saying that he's guilty of murder. So.
Well, I mean, Mysterio framed it that way, and I can kind of like understand that a little bit.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's so surprised that people know who he is now, when for the past 2 movies, and even in Civil War and Infinity War, he's just walking around without a mask
super
on.
willy-nilly, yeah.
He showed up in the in battle and Endgame with no mask on. He just swings in and immediately goes, I don't need the mask.
Yeah, but there's no civilians around. Like the average.
But there's all those like Wakanda.
Marvel's also made it a point to really not care much about the fact that their heroes have their secret identities out into the world. Spider-Man now being a more special case.
Which was probably the issue of like when it came to Civil War. It's like, okay, because one of the bases of Civil War, like you have to show your identity.
Yes.
And so then when it came to the movie Civil War, it's like, well, a lot of these people they really know who they are, you know.
Well,
that's why they had to like tweet that and
that's going to take away such a cool moment from later in like what they could have done with Holland Spider-Man, where he finally reveals who he is. And now it's just like people have found out about 5 times. Like, and if people, you know, if he successfully erased their memory in this one, they're going to remember by the end of the movie. Like, they're not going to leave it that way, I don't think.
But that's one thing when it comes to the whole secret identity thing, when it comes to these movies. That's why I love the fact that Zach was like, Lois, come on. She's, you know, Pulitzer Prize winning Lois. She's kind of not going to be a fool, you know, and I love the fact that he was like, nah, we ain't going to do that.
Zach just got it out of the way. Zach was like, you know what? She's not stupid. She's going to figure it out. She's a literal reporter.
Yeah.
Like
Pulitzer Prize winning. Yeah. She's not going to get fooled by that. So I always like it when I like the fact that, it's some of these directors are just kind of going like, hey, these people aren't going to be fooled. Just let the identity, you know.
It's the same thing with Lex Luthor being able to figure out that Bruce Wayne's Batman and Clark Kent was Superman.
He's Lex Luthor.
He's Lex Luthor.
He's Lex Luthor, right?
Yeah. Either do it in the beginning, like how Zach did, where immediately everybody just kind of figured it out, or have it saved up for a special moment later, and have it revealed. You know, but don't do this thing like they've done with Holland Spider-Man, where they're like back and forth, like you know. And now they're going to do it again. They're going to do another bait and switch thing where like everybody's going to find out or something, and then everybody's going to forget, but they'll just remember again. Like,
just lean into it. It's like whatever. I mean, we get it though. I mean, the secret identity has always been, you know, it's part of the lure of the whole thing is trying to do that kind of life thing. I mean, I get it, but like when you're trying to translate some of this stuff into, you know, and they're trying to do their best to ground it. I mean, certain people. I mean, when it comes to Superman, you know, pair of glasses. I mean, do I look that different? You know.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit, you know, but at the same time, I can understand Batman. His face is pretty much almost fully covered,
right?
A little more difficult. Spider-Man
voice as well.
Covered,
it's worth noting though that Henry Cavill himself said that he actually tried out the whole glasses thing to see if it would work, like out in Times Square, like during the publicity tour.
It can work. It can work.
It can.
Yeah, but but not for reporters.
I noticed something that Zach did with Henry Superman that I didn't notice it until I rewatched Man of Steel like a couple weeks ago. He intentionally has no shots of like Perry seeing Superman's face close up. All the footage of Superman is all fuzzy, faraway footage.
Yes.
And I wonder if that was on purpose.
Yeah,
because Lois knows because she sees both of them up close.
I think it was, and at the end of BVS, Perry is like, "All right, I know who he is."
Although he does,
because he takes a look at the obituary. I
feel like him figuring it out may have to do with the fact that in Man of Steel, it does seem like Perry did see did see like Superman and Lois having the big damn kiss.
Yeah.
What? The big damn kiss? What'd
Yeah,
you
like
in the Man of Steel right before he fights Zod.
Oh
Yeah, right before he fights Zod, he sees the big kiss, and he smirks and he looks at what's his name, Lombard.
Lombard.
Yeah, he smirks and he looks at Lombard and whatever. So like he sees that, and of course in BVS he sees that Clark and Lois are an item, so he can.
Yeah, no, he pieced it together for sure.
Well, the thing that I like about that is, like, look at how they characterize Clark in the Superman animated series. He's not the bumbling Christopher Reeve at all.
Yeah.
Like he's very he stands up straight. He's still, you can still tell he's a big dude. He just doesn't go out of his way to draw attention to himself. You know, it is literally the phrase mild-mannered. Mild-mannered reporter Clark Kent means like you're confident, but like you're not attention-seeking. And that's a like important distinction. And I think Zach was honing it.
Yeah, I actually really appreciated he wasn't a bumbling fool.
Yeah,
I like that, and the fact, and he's wearing like kind of like dull clothing, like beige, all that stuff, and it's like, and he's not flashy or anything. He's not trying to draw attention to himself necessarily.
Which finally reminds me, like there's a story that John F. Kennedy, when he was president, like there was a time where he was like at this event or whatever, but he wanted to go outside for a smoke, but he didn't tell his bodyguards about it. He snuck outside and had a smoke or whatever, but he was out like on the entrance at the street, and people were just walking by and didn't really give him a second look, because no one would think that the president of the United States would do that. So they never assumed that was John F. Kennedy. So it was something like that with us, with the glasses and everything.
Yeah.
No one would think that Superman would just be out there among the people with glasses and a suit.
Well, it's funny because like even rewatching Lois and Clark and seeing that version, and you know, I kind of and just revisiting, I went, Dean King did do he wasn't like the bumbling idiot when he was Clark. He was just kind of like himself. And then when he was Superman, he was a little more like, hey, what's going on? And he kind of was like doing like a more like confident, like I got my, And I went, okay, so he didn't go, Christopher Reeve went complete opposite when he was Clark. Bumbling idiot, that worked perfectly fine. But Dean Cain went, okay, he's changing when he's Superman. More thing. And then it was funny too, because watch some of these episodes. I mean, there's like one episode, it's a really cheesy episode where somebody has potion and everybody starts falling in love with each other in the Daily Planet. Remember that episode?
I think so.
and then Lois is falling for Clark, and then she literally goes, you know what? You look like Superman. Oh my God. And it's just like, there's sometimes where they kind of loosely
play with it,
but then they just kind of walk away from it. Like, why would Superman be working here? So I actually do what you're saying, Eric, is like, they kind of like do all that kind of stuff.
There's one of the great kind of gems of the Superman animated series, and it'd be good to have Scott's take on this too. Is there's an episode where Clark Kent is investigating a story, and he's even like driving around to investigate. And he's like, I know I could fly there, but I want to do this as an actual reporter and everything. But then supposedly Clark dies because whoever he's investigating like puts a bomb on his car or something like that, or cuts his brakes so he drives off a cliff. Obviously he survives as Superman, and he's telling his parents like, what do I do? They're like, well, can't you just be Superman? He's like, no, I like being Clark Kent. I like having this different to myself that's not superhero based all the time. Like, or even there's even a line he says like he was at work late, so he had someone had some leftover pizza. He's like, I don't need to eat, but I'm so used to it, I might as well.
Just stuff like that.
That was one of my favorite scenes from BVS, or the Ultimate Edition of BVS, is when Clark takes the ferry over to Gotham and talks to the people.
He could just go right over there. But
I love that. That like grounds him. He wants to be a reporter and he wants to be human.
Yep.
Right.
And it's funny too, because he almost seems like he enjoys that. Like
he likes it more than.
Like, all right, I'm gonna, I'm just on this ferry. Like, let's,
Zach's Superman definitely gives me the vibe of where he much more enjoys being Clark Kent at the Daily Planet than he ever does being Superman.
Oh yeah, well that's because
Everybody hates
and that's what's so beautiful is like half the fucking country or world hates him, and he just can't catch a break. Anything he does, I mean, he's literally just like, come on. Well, I mean, what do I have to do here? Jesus Christ.
Like one of my favorite Clark Kent moments in Man of Steel was just before like Zod gives his message to Earth. Like, what is he doing? He's watching football while drinking beer from the bottle.
Right.
Like, he's an all-American boy. Like, he's not Superman in that moment. He's an all-American boy.
What beer was he drinking?
I think he was drinking Budweiser.
It looked like a
That's
Budweiser,
right.
Yeah.
It was a Budweiser.
St. Louis.
And it's like, can you?
Yeah, I've got the Bud
Having dinner with
Light.
Mom.
Bud Light. Ugh.
He was
Hey,
drinking
that's what I had.
Budweiser, just like he did in Superman Returns.
Wow.
Did he
I'm a
drink that
Guinness
in
guy.
Superman?
Okay, now we're talking.
I don't always drink beer, but when I do, I prefer Dos Equis.
I knew you were gonna say that. Yeah, I'm on like a
Yes.
fucking seltzer goddamn kick right now, so I'm like, I don't know. It's good. It's good.
I just
Those are good with food. Those are what if I go out to eat, I get it like a seltzer beer because like it's not heavy and it doesn't make me feel like
Makes
so
sense.
overloaded. So
Yeah.
those
Well,
are
like
bad.
last weekend I beered it
Honestly,
up pretty good, so I was like, all right, this weekend I'm not.
I'm more of a wine guy. I mean, seriously, like after I did Gentleman Jack, I think next time I'll probably just get a sweet wine or something.
There you go.
Wine,
That's what I
there you
like to
go.
hear.
Wine. I know.
Put some wine with my dinner, which is leftover tri-tip. So
I had steak, so I
Nice.
can appreciate that.
Well, hey,
Oh, snap.
I can't. I'm sort of at the point when I have like steak or like pasta, like with marinara sauce. I kind of need red wine with it.
Well,
Yeah.
there you go.
Good combination.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Because like the Italians believe that every dish has a wine for it, and that the dish with the perfect wine enhances the flavor of both. Like when I heard that, I made it a point to research. Okay, what wine is perfect for fettuccine alfredo? And the answer is Chardonnay. That's not the only one I know.
Interesting. Yeah, it's funny. Like the grocery store I have, they actually have like a list of like what meats go good with what wine and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I usually get like a sirloin, and I'll have like a Cabernet with it, and it's a good combination.
Yep.
Mhm.
What's chicken? What's fried? What does the chicken go with?
What?
Chicken.
I don't know. I don't remember what it said. I don't remember what it said when it came to
See,
chicken.
I'm just that idiot that goes there and I don't know anything about wine pairings or anything. I just go and I look at the names on the menu and I'm like, that sounds interesting.
I'm not a
Like,
connoisseur by any
yeah.
means, but
The only-
I like trying things.
Yeah.
I'm a
the
mook.
only
Can you please just
pairing-
give me what tastes good? Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah.
that's all.
Like the only pairing,
Like, oh, this looks like it's okay.
yeah, because like the only pairing that I know by heart is fettuccine alfredo, Chardonnay.
Yeah. It's. I think it's all a bunch of hoopla. It's just everybody has different taste buds.
Yeah, yeah.
But before I want to wrap this up, is Aaron, where are you located? I forgot exactly.
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Okay,
Yeah.
so you are East Coast, and you are doing something, an art little contest.
Oh,
and you had a little exchange with a certain cyborg earlier
Yeah.
today, and that was pretty cool.
That's rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about that because I did. I talked about it on Film Junkee Live, and but yeah, talk about it a little bit more. And I love the fact that what's his name Javian.
Javon, I think.
Javon.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't want to like butcher it. Yeah, Joyvin, I think is what it is actually.
That's
Joyvin, I
okay.
think is
Okay.
Yeah, we're just doing. We've got submissions up until October 1st. It's all cyborg related art. Anything that's we're tagging it with Draw My Cyborg, and the prizes should be announced in the next like 2 or 3 weeks. It may run a little longer, may run a little less, but it's gonna be pretty exciting, and we're gonna work in a charity aspect to it, so that'll be cool.
There you
That was
go.
one of the things I wanted to do. So, but yeah, I was talking to Mr. Joyvin, and we're gonna have something cool for the winner of the contest, hopefully. So,
Well, fingers crossed that Ray Fisher gets involved with that, which I think he would, but I know he's a busy dude. But man, I know he would definitely try to get in there. Let's try to get Ray Fisher involved with that. I'm sure he would love
That'd
that.
be super
Put
cool.
Both of them
yeah.
involved, that'd be really sweet.
because I mean, it was initially because the whole fandom thing where they left out
Cyborg.
Cyborg, and they did add him back
weird.
in.
That was very weird. I don't even.
That was.
And so just some people we were talking to, and we're like, you know what, that's stupid. Like, let's just do our own thing with Cyborg, have an art contest, and
That's good.
celebrate both versions of live action Cyborg.
There you go. Yeah.
So
I
I was
love the
like,
fact
you
that
know,
you're doing both versions. It's like, yeah, pick your poison. I mean, we got
'Cause
two
it's-
live versions of a unique character, and you don't have to like both, but just celebrate both.
but I mean, there's two actors that are playing this character, and they just didn't even have submissions for the artwork for him. So I was like, look at this is dumb. Like,
it was weird because when I saw
way
that
too
last
hard.
week, I like went on and I looked, and I'm like, what the fuck? These guys are really like omitting that. It was
it
weird.
was so blatantly like if they were trying to be subtle about something, they were
Yeah.
not hitting the mark with it, because that was the most unsubtle diss I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And it hurts Joyven too, because I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of people wanted to submit Doom Patrol Cyborg art.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And because they have this petty thing with
right?
Ray, they're hurting his version of Cyborg too. So
so ridiculous.
Because that's not the kind, and at an actual Comic-Con, that's like not the kind of thing they would ever police. Because any person that at a Comic-Con could go to Artist Alley and request a commission. Say if they would say, "Hey, I want you to do a Cyborg piece like Ray Fisher," like what's one of those guys going to say? No, because they don't want to be paid.
exactly,
Right.
and it was really glaring, because if you go look at that list before they added Cyborg, they had characters in there that I've like not dissing the characters, but I've never seen somebody even do art of some of those characters.
Right.
Yeah.
Such
Like-
low level
like-
characters, and you don't have someone.
How many
that's
people
Cyborg
do
on
you know that
And
like
then it's
actually log on and do like Clayface art? Like, you know, but they had Clayface on there, but not Cyborg. Like,
and then they had Cyborg Superman. It's like, okay, cool, but who the
like we haven't had any media with Cyborg, Superman, or Clayface in it in like 20 years.
Yeah.
But Cyborg has literally been in a
Supergirl
popular show.
technically.
Yeah,
and
I was just gonna say Supergirl had a pretty piss poor version of Cyborg Superman on there.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, see,
Yeah.
that's how much I
heard about
remembered
that.
it.
I
So
heard about that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Hey, look who's back.
Oh,
William.
We're about to wrap it up. You're at home now? Is
Yeah,
that what
I
happened?
had to close up the store and get back here.
Oh,
But I didn't know you'd still be on. But hey, since you're
yeah,
on,
well, we're about to wrap it up right now, actually. But it's good to see you again. But yeah, we were just talking about how Aaron's doing like this art thing where fans are submitting their art for both the Cyborgs and how do you say his name again? I'm bad.
Joyven, I think.
Joyven Wade.
Like I actually responded to Aaron today on Twitter, and he's all about it. So hopefully we can get Fisher involved, and yeah, should be pretty cool, because you heard about that thing like DC Fandom when people could submit their art, and you did that drop down and to pick like what your art is, and Cyborg is not listed there. Did you see that?
see, and I think he still has a future with DC Films. I just
He
like
could.
I said before, Ray Fisher.
Yeah.
I just think that, like I said, once the new landlords are here, a lot of people who have distanced themselves will not have the reason to stay away. I just think a lot of things are
Well,
going to
we were kind of
change.
joking about that earlier. It's like if the Flash is still, obviously we're not going to get it till next year, like end of next year, right? It's not till like November of next year. Like, what if like the new people come in and certain people are out, and then all of a sudden Muschietti's like, "Hey, I wrote a scene.
Additional
At the end,
photography.
you're gonna show up," and then all of a sudden they just film it, do it, fucking. Hey, there you go. Hey, Cyborg was right there.
I would just hope that like he gets because that's going to be twice now, and it wasn't Zach's fault on the first one, but that's going to be twice now that Ray's had to come in to do to just film like a little tiny thing to go at the end of a movie or something.
Yeah.
I'm really
I think
hoping
he
they
could
bring
do a
him
lot
back
more.
to actually.
Anybody
so
ready
probably
for Ray Fisher Best Supporting Actor campaign?
Right? Yes.
But
do
if
that.
he comes in, if the new boss comes in, they could film other stuff. He doesn't have to have it just the end of the movie. I mean,
No,
they could do
yeah.
other things at the end.
Yeah.
That's
But-
what
Well,
but,
it would be
I
interesting.
don't
What
want
if
the current guys
Muschietti was
doing
like
anything.
already filming stuff? He already had stuff in place where it's like, we have this actor right here, and then all of a sudden they do like hey, DJ Brian or Hirota, can you guys remove him and put Ray in? Absolutely.
If Muschietti is that big of a baller that he actually filmed scenes where like it could be Cyborg, but they just have an encased character,
exactly
like what Zach did with
That'd be
Martian
something.
Manhunter and
exactly.
But when you
Oh
know
my
someone
God.
else is taking over, your balls get bigger.
yeah.
You know, when you know that the old guy is not going to be the one, to drop the
give you the
hammer on
okay.
you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I want everything just to stop right now. I want everything to stop. and-
cancel DC.
and-
No more.
no, just hold on, because I'd rather have all these things done right than have them be done the way they've been.
Nah, yeah.
That's very true.
understand.
No. No, it's good. All right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. This was a lot of fun, as always, guys. You guys are awesome, and like I said, Aaron, thank you for being the newcomer of the
course, man.
bunch. Appreciate the support from all you guys. Like I said, you're supporting the film Junkee Empire, and I always love talking with you guys. And yeah, and I love the fact that you're doing this contest with that old thing. I mean, when I saw that tweet, I was like, "Yes, there you go. We got one cyborg on board. We just got to get that other one." I think Ray Fisher will definitely be on board with that. So, yeah, thank you guys. Like I said, and we'll be doing this again, of course, next few weeks.
We'll do it every Saturday, Dave. Without Swinton, I'm lost.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I know. I didn't realize. I didn't even realize because I'll watch like his daily videos, but I never knew that he stopped doing his Saturday night stream.
Yeah, ask Jose Acquire. He's in the chat room. He's seen what I've become.
No, is that what it is?
I get it.
Nah, yeah,
it was really good seeing the original Snyder Cut Odd Couple together.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was like the whole group. You know, with like Scott Garza showed up for a little bit, and Steven. I was like, oh man, it's like the vodka streams of old. And Garza came on. He's like, yeah, I'm taking a hiatus. Like, what? All right. Yeah, I get it though.
Wow.
Yeah, he's taking a little hiatus from it. Yeah, he was not. Now that all that stuff's out, he's just not into it as much anymore. Not to mention he's trying to be a cop too. So.
Oh, is he really?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
That's cool.
He's trying to switch over to be. Yeah, he's gonna go to the academy, I think, and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh,
so, yeah, he wants to be a cop, so he's he's changing it up big time. So, but
I'm sure like he's like obviously like he's happy that that what's his face with the old like motion comic like basically fell apart with that.
Oh yeah. That's what he said. That's what he came in and said. He's all, I don't have anything to complain about because of that.
But honestly, with the new motion comic.
That's right, Eric. You have the other motion comic coming out that's not related to the one that fell flat on his face.
Yeah, because honestly, like I will say that like a lot of like the crew that was involved with it that were like left to dry that are like obviously pissed off at him. They like came over to
that's good.
And says, no, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it right.
Yeah.
We're not gonna do it these jerks who basically ruined everything.
Yeah, I know. That was a sad state of affairs, and all the disclaimer had to be was like, hey, we're doing artwork. It might look like some of the artwork you already have, and that's it. That's all it would have taken, and then it, didn't do that, and then it was just like, let's just destroy the whole thing.
I was get it going because the saddest thing, the biggest tragedy is that project got halted because it was going to go for a good cause. It was good, and the fact that the biggest crime is that it never happened. So if you were able to get it going, that'd be great. I'd publish it on all my streams. On my
yeah. I'll promote it too. Yeah, I know. Like I've already seen some of the stuff that you guys are putting out there, and it already looks good. It looks like it's good, and it looks original, which is good.
And we've got some good folks like trying to apply for the voice acting. And some of them are really really good. Like I've been impressed with. There's this one guy who's like he does a great Harry Lennox impression. If let's say that if Harry is like not interested in like taking this kind of risk in, I understand that. We got a guy like he does a great Harry Lennox impression. He's doing like it, and but like his normal voice. I was like, your normal voice would be great for Jon Stewart if he ever interested. Like to see how that works. But yeah, we got like great like artists want to be involved. Great like voice actors want to be involved. But like honestly, anyone. If you want to be involved, like contact me. Yeah, contact me. Yeah, contact me. Contact Mr. Vega. Contact Paolo Stefano. Just if you're great at what you do, we're willing to like listen and see what you got.
Yeah, there you go. Do that, guys. All right, we'll go ahead and wrap this up for Saturday night. Again, thank you guys for the extra support of the channel, and like I said, always love talking to you guys and. Thank you to everybody who watched, and till next time, we will definitely talk to you later.